streaming. And we're off to the races.
Well done. Well done, Talk.
Welcome back to The Honest Wargamer, and we are back to The Honest Wargamer. We're live in the studio. I'm joined by Tom. Hi, Tom.
Hiya.
I'm Rob, and it's Thursday night. It's ladies' night. We're missing Nikos. You should be able to hear us. We've done this intro once. The internet hates us. Not the internet that we're trying to use, just the internet who are our audience.
I mean, the internet is just another thing to add to the pile of things that hate us. So.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Perfectly fine.
So, hello everyone. We got it. We're back. Hit refresh. So, right. So where were we? We're thanking everyone, Patreon and Twitch. You guys are wonderful.
The crowdfunder.
So, GoFundMe. So this weekend, Tom, we did the Brave One British Open live coverage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think pretty swish coverage.
I thought it was pretty swish coverage.
Thank you. It's very swish.
Very swish.
We did some cool new stuff no one's ever done before. A bit of a stress test for the technology at the weekend. But the thing that upset me at the weekend was that we didn't get to see the miniatures. So I had this conversation today. I personally don't think you ever need anything more than a top-down for a competitive review of a game. Tom, as a competitive player and people who've done that all around the world, what do you agree or not agree?
I don't really think. I don't see why you need specific angles or anything like that, unless you're going for the kind of like Dutch angle, arty-farty game kind of thing.
Well, so yeah, realistically though, that's basically
that's not competitive, though, is it? No.
Well, so that's where it becomes problematic, because while the top-down view for people like you and I who are super into Warhammer and the mechanics of it, for people watching at home, wives, a bunch of other stuff, kids, we need
husbands,
yeah, whoever, androgynous, aromantic partners, whatever you may, your dog. What we really need is to be able to focus on those models, scanning shots, a bunch of really clever stuff we can do. So I just kind of was like, I'm going to put a GoFundMe up and I'll see what happens.
Yeah,
and then everyone went fucking mental.
It's done all right, hasn't it?
It's gone too well. And people keep and we've hit the target now, and I'm like, and everyone's just like, I'm going to put more money in. And I'm like, stop. And then I'm like, oh, we need cases and stands and stuff, but I'll sort that. That'll be fine. Everyone's like, no. And I'm like, fuck. But from the bottom of my heart, and we just talked about this off air, I honestly am gobsmacked. I don't really know how to express it. The only thoughts I have are it's like a litmus test for me for how much people want to see, not just good coverage, but world-class coverage.
I think we can invest in a whiteboard to go behind you, so you can bend over and write a sub's name on the board every single time. I think that's what the people want, and I would invest in that.
I won't be doing that.
I will.
Well, but we might be able to do cool sports style green screen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just some fucking snazzy stuff, and
the best coverage.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dr. Robotnik, thank you for subscribing. Thank you everyone who's just joined us, by the way, on Twitch. I don't really, so I'm still I actually went and played Warhammer all day yesterday so that I couldn't be on Twitter.
You played with Speckles, right?
Yeah, I played with Speckles, but that's only because I couldn't really deal with everyone doing things. Yeah. People were saying nice stuff, and I'm like,
how dare you?
Yeah, and it's just I'm not saying that I'm all twisted and bitter inside, but basically I am. So when people show affection and love to me because of what awful childhood I had, it kind of makes me recoil in horror, and I'm like, stop it.
This can't be legitimate.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
Yeah. But from the bottom of my heart, I'm very grateful to everyone, and also I want everyone to be aware that while I super love the support, everyone kept saying my name, it's Rob, he's great. I'm not great without you. I'm not great without Scrivo. I'm not great without Nikos, not Nathan, Jonathan, Dispossessed Dan, Tomb King Tristan in the chat, Hook and Pin, all these people, everyone watching now, if you're listening to the podcast, it's you guys really, because you guys, the reason I've gone on this silly journey is because I want it, whatever it is eventually, to be the best thing ever. Yeah. And I know that there's no one else in the world striving for that goal.
No, you really are the driving force behind this. And
we are the driving force, though, because I ask you loads of questions, right? I do. I ask Nikos loads of questions. As an example, so when you tuned in at the weekend, if you watched the Bravery One coverage, or even when we did the LCO, there were little lights on the table for objectives.
Yeah, it was Nikos.
That was from Nikos. Yeah, and I was speaking to someone at the weekend at the pub, and they were like, it's frustratingly simple. Like, it's so fucking glaringly, obviously simple.
Why has no one else done
Why
this?
has no one ever done it? Yeah,
It's
Everyone's
some lights from an aquarium.
It's lights from an aquarium, right? Like, it's so fucking easy.
It's not. You need to get the specific Honest Wargamer brand.
Oh yeah.
with
Also,
lights from the
if you
aquarium.
could get the honest Wargamer branded ones, we have got a markup of like £30 on them. So don't do that. They're actually on just.
We're
Amazon
going to rebottle super glue into tiny packets and sell them. But you need those ones.
Yeah. I actually am going to do list tech shows, but charge you $200 a time.
It's just going to be. What units do you like?
All units. No.
Apart from Helverins.
I don't like Culverins. I really like Lightning Strike Fighters, and they
There
suck.
you go. But it's all going to be Lightning Strike.
Yeah.
Fighters.
All right. Yeah. Every list.
You give the same advice to everybody. Now it'll be $30 a month, please. Thank you.
Just make this so people can see it, Tom, because they're a little bit.
I know.
You
So,
just put your pop
so
filter down a
I'm
tiny
fully
bit.
aware that Slanice is in the chat,
Yeah.
and I know that Slanice has been going around taking dodgy screenshots of everyone, like Chucklebuddy
Yeah.
and you.
And you don't want to be
So
in it.
I'm. And now that I've said that, he's going to put double the effort into taking screenshots of me. Luckily, I'm handsome as fuck, regardless of what he does. So, come at me, bro.
Hooker Bid, thank you so much for donating 1,000 bits. 1,000 bits, except that.
I swear every time
crazy people think
I swear every time I come in the chat, Hook and Pen has put some bits
Yeah,
towards the show.
she's a babe. Yeah. Yes. Also, don't forget we'll be at CCBB, so that might be the first time the fancy cameras get a look in for Canhammer TV.
Yeah. Just don't take him through Manchester Airport.
We won't. I'm going to say hello to everyone in the chat. So yeah, you might get to see potentially the best. Well, I don't want to be a cunt.
It's not going to be potentially. It just
Yeah, I
is.
know, but I don't want to be that guy. But it will be the best.
If you're not confident of it, you're not going to feel like you need to
No, I'm
absolutely put that
confident
show
of it.
off.
I'm going
Of
to
course,
fucking
yeah.
smash it.
We're going to smash it.
Yeah, like fucking we're the best.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking like
not
run
even
rings
close.
around everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to do coverage. It's because we care, right?
Yeah.
It's like what's going to be good about like. So I'm really excited about that. That's in Canada, right? Run by the Canhammer boys. They're great.
They are good.
They are good.
Yeah.
They are good. Like.
They even did a European daytime stream the other week. I was
Oh,
very
a
happy
bunch of
with that,
cuties.
Yeah.
But I just want it's going to be fucking good. So it'll be the best 40k coverage in the world,
Yes.
right?
There you go.
And
No,
then,
potentially it just will be.
And then the time after that, whenever we do 40k coverage, it'll be the best 40k
Yeah.
coverage.
We're just going to keep raising the bar.
Yeah, you're gonna have to chase us.
Yeah.
We got a bar and we're fucking running with it. That's the plan. So thank
I
you.
literally have a bar that I'm running with.
Yeah, Tom's got a stick.
There it is.
But yeah, so you guys are badass. Hypnocracken. Also, thank you for donating 450 bits.
Time to bend over again, Rob.
Just seeing I'm going to say hello to everyone in the chat if you don't
No,
mind.
go
Tom.
for it. Yeah.
The camera is Mad Jerky. Oh, is it?
Is that me just bashing the table?
Maybe, yeah. Evening Flame Farmer. Witch King is a big fan, so thank you, appreciate that. Ret Santi, Sinise is Tom Hiding, he is.
Yes.
I miss Nikos. We miss Nikos.
Fuck you too.
Yeah. I just want you looking forward to this. Coverage of CCB. Yeah, us too. Flukesy, hell, I'll give it a go as well, just for you, Tom. I think maybe talking about 40k.
Yeah. I'm giving AOS a go, so
Yeah.
I'm back. Exchange students.
The Dreadwoods, can we all stop trying to make Rob cry? I didn't cry last time. I didn't cry.
Not last time, the time before.
I didn't. Right, anyway, look, so anyone, if you got any of the people currently in the chat who have donated towards the GoFundMe, you guys are incredible. Thank you. I at least will make a personal commitment to bring you the best live coverage of Warhammer you've ever seen. I know for a fact that that's why I'm so lucky, because everyone who I'm with and all you guys at home are all committed to the same cause. So, it's just a fucking gang. That's what's terrifying. I was like, I'll see if people want us to, do better shots. And then everyone on the internet were like, yes, do better, hurry the fuck up. And
Here you go, we'll give you the resources.
Yeah, there's
Now
the
go and do it.
resources. Get on, you fucking little man, baby.
Hell,
And
I'll
I'm
do
like,
it.
oh, fucking all right, calm down.
Well, it shows how much interest there is in this, right?
Yeah, there is, because, so someone messaged me again at the weekend. I don't want to talk too much about this. I do. I don't know when I want to talk about it, but so I have fucking know.
doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone at the weekend messaged me and was like, I was sat there watching it with my wife, and my wife liked it. She was like, I'm all about that. I'm into it.
I don't know what's going on, but I like it.
Yeah. There's a guy who kind of sounds English, and this other guy that definitely sounds
And there's
English.
this definitely Swedish man.
There's definitely Swedish fella, and they're just doing stuff. Mamdare, thank you for subscribing. I've been trying to use bent as a banana in my daily conversations.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Mr. Kabaishi says, the Honest Wargamer family. Definitely, that's true. Gorlak says, I donated while I was on the other side of the world. Now I'm back and it's funded. Oh, Gorlak, thank you so much. Yeah, 24
That was a
hours.
quick flight.
Yeah, 24 hours. So apparently people want us to do better coverage.
Yeah.
So we're going to do better coverage.
I'm gonna trust us to do it as well.
Yeah, we're gonna fucking anyway. I don't know what to say anymore. You guys are amazing. We'll do some good shit. Let's do good shit.
Good shit incoming.
Yeah, and also potentially like hilarious shit. Yeah, because I'm not saying that the Honest Wargamer has got a Pornhub account, but I'm not
It
saying
does.
I'm not saying that we don't.
There's going to be some very serious shit going on there as well.
No, because I just think it's the funniest thing to do with footage.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just clip it off Twitch and then put it on Pornhub.
You can't have the adpocalypse on Pornhub.
I think that's the future. That if you're listening to the podcast or you're one of the guys watching, I know it's immature. I get it.
That's a penis.
It's not a penis. What did we put? So we saw someone lose a priority roll, right, and therefore lose game 5.
And lose the tournament.
Not
Was
lose
it?
the tournament, but
Okay.
lose going 5-0.
Yeah.
Right, on a dice roll.
Yeah.
So we just subclipped it as man fucks man with dice, and that's true. Yeah. Objectively, that's hilarious.
It's like the Community Barrows RuneScape video. Oh no.
Jimmy says, honestly, for me, the beard is the only thing that separates Nathan and Jonathan. Like, he doesn't know the difference.
And the accent. Well, we've got slightly different accents, I guess. Slightly, not much.
Wobbly Lassies, they're dancing on the show. There you go.
Get your tits out.
I'll do that.
Oh dear.
And then Denise is also one of our mod chats. Denise, Tinkin Tristan's here. All of our mods are in the chat. Does say he will watch over the Pornhub account with the care and compassion it deserves, which I appreciate. Also,
Ad block off.
And also, thehonestwargamer.com is blocked on my work proxy, says Carmack, but Pornhub isn't. So we will upload all
So what you're saying is we upload stat shows to Pornhub.
Done. No issues. Right.
What's dominant in iOS these days? Daughters of Cain fucks. I don't know what.
Well, I think we're going to do. I think me, Jonathan, and Nathan are going to do an Age of Sigmar review of the Sinesh Battle Tome, and it's going to be Swedish man talks dirty to builder.
And that's going in the gay section, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, let's talk about 40k. Paul Krog, thank you so much for subscribing for 2 months. Apparently they've been Flukesy, thank you. We'll try and make sure that it's not blocked. Maybe it needs like some sort of,
if it's on a work proxy, then it'll be a specific website block.
yeah, potentially.
So it won't be anything. I don't think we can do too much about that.
Maybe.
Apart from break into his work.
Where's he work?
I don't know.
I would like it if the whole government had blocked us. That'd be fun. Tom, did you try making lists including Yunari, or are they really unplayable? So that's a great question. Tom, since we did the Yunari book review, what are your thoughts?
Haven't done anything. I haven't really looked at Yunari. I haven't had the time, I'm afraid. Okay. So I have been doing quite a bit of list work.
Because you hurt yourself?
I have hurt myself.
What happened?
So I was playing football and I fell awkwardly and I have soft tissue damage in my right ankle.
Oh no.
So that was just under 2 weeks ago. So
okay.
I'm padding around, but it's I'm not able to run or anything like that, which is
basically your version of walking.
Correct.
If you guys have never seen, if you want to YouTube it, also Datcom, thank you for subscribing for 17 months in a row. If you'd like to YouTube it, you can go onto YouTube and you can find that there is a video of a man called Bear in Alaskan Bush People. Bear in Alaskan Bush People only runs places. So Tom is actually the English 40k Bear. He also punches fishes to death.
I can't wait until we go to the Hellstorm Doubles event so we can upload a video called "Man Fucks 2 Men with Birch."
Yeah. So you haven't done any Yunari work, is what you're
I haven't
saying?
done any Yunari work. I've been mainly working on Orcs at the minute, but I must be honest. I think Harlequins could probably be okay with Yunari. I had a bit of a chat with Dan from Hellstorm Wargaming about that, but I haven't really had too much time to look into the Yunari, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So that's the aim for after the ETC. I think I'll see what that book's all about, but at the minute I need to focus on my Orcs.
Okay, that's fair. Carmack says, Rob, tell everyone that if they want rhinos, they can order Conquest issue 27 for £7.50, and it comes with a free rhino.
Oh, £7.50 rhinos.
That's mental.
I would like 12 of those, please.
Yes, please. Aaron Wilson at AOS. Hey, on Small Game Crew. Can't stay tonight, but just want to congratulate on the GoFundMe. So well deserved. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. Again, thank you. You guys are the best. Did you do any things that told you to do to your leg? Tomb King Tristan asks.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Tomb King Tristan, also not only a mod of the chat, he's also the Honest Wargamers Like coach
Medic.
and physio.
So when Nikos breaks his nose playing football, and when I do my ankle in playing football, the solution is don't play sports, only T sports.
Only T Sports.
Only
Yeah.
T-Sports.
It's hard to hurt yourself during T Sports, but not impossible.
Not impossible.
Not
no.
impossible. Oh, Canama TV, thank you for subscribing 4 months in a
Whoop,
row. Flame Farmer, nice one. I'll change my name to something Rob can read. Fuck. Fuck.
But the answer is nothing.
Yes.
Moonty Raid.
It's so hard.
It is hard.
It is hard. Right, so on today's show, so I'm going to ask Tom what he's been up to in 40k. And then also today's show is pretty simple. At the end of it, we're going to be talking about the League of Nights which we're going to this weekend. Nikos has organised it super well. We'll all be attending. I'll be doing some filming, so you'll see some videos on YouTube and some other stuff. So night on night action. Tom made a trophy. We'll talk about all the end. But the first section of the show is going to be with you guys. It's me and Tom are going to be having a discussion about 40k because I want to get a new 40k army, not get a new 40k army.
Yeah.
I want to play a new 40k army.
You already have all the models necessary to get.
To play a 40k army. But what I wanted everyone at home to hear was with that process, with more than likely either an addition change or at least a significant change happening in the summer to 40k. I wanted to start to get prepped. And while we don't necessarily know how that looks, what I wanted to do was have a conversation about what army I want to go for and why. And I thought that that'd be a really interesting experience for everyone at home because I'm going to almost play like an idiot to a degree, but not quite. Yeah. And then ask Tom some questions. And then people can maybe hear the conversations that happen between competitive-ish gamers. And how they have it, and then or the questions that we ask, and some of those questions could be questions that you ask. So kind of similar to how the workbook works, but just more of an audio conversation.
Yeah.
That I'm excited by this personally,
yeah.
Because I think that there are either not a lot of. I don't know what the guys in the chat are saying, but
I don't think they even know what they're saying.
No. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, sounds good. I've already got my 5 stages of list building
What
over
the
here.
hell, Flukesy? It's hit 3k. What, the GoFundMe?
Has it?
No, why?
Last time I checked, it was like
stops.
2.7.
Yeah, it's not meant to. It's meant to stop at 2 point. Is there like a way to stop it?
No.
No. We'll have so many.
It's on trending, by the way.
Imagine it. Yeah, it was trending.
It's trending.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means
I don't know
either,
what that
but it
means
sounds
either.
good.
It sounds great. I don't know what to do. Fucking hell. Okay. So
I haven't actually seen your hair yet.
Oh, this is it. This is the hair of a man fallen to pieces.
alright.
That's cool. Like that means we can do some really clever shit.
Yeah.
Like because 2 was the big ask. If we could get 2 cameras,
Yeah.
that's the big ask.
We're going to try and get a satellite now.
Well, getting
so
a
we can
third
zoom
camera
in.
would be good. Getting another camera on top of that would be like. But I never thought because that's like so that's $7,500.
Yeah.
Right, and that's obviously a ludicrous amount of money.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like you just be like, hey, and also to people who don't understand anything about cameras, if I was to say to you, hey, one camera is £2,500, everyone would be like, you're a fucking twat. Like,
Are we going to get one of those swizzle things?
The next thing I ever get is this. I've got a camera right in here, mate. Why don't you just use one of those? This is my phone.
Are we going to get a swizzle anti-gravity camera holder so I can walk around the event going woo?
So a Steadicam.
Yeah, Steadicam.
Steadicams are relatively inexpensive.
Are they? I thought they were expensive.
Like it depends on the weight of the camera, but you can get one for your phone for like £100. So
Okay.
£100 English.
That could be
You
funny.
can get one for like a small size DSLR. They cost about 500. And then if you wanted to get one for a very heavy camera, it starts getting into the thousands.
Yeah.
So it really does depend on like what you're using, which is why it's really interesting needing to get a camera to cover Warhammer. So when I set up the initial rig, I know this is not what we were meant to be talking about.
That's interesting, though.
Okay, but when we set up the initial rig, I had a concept for how we were going to put it together. And obviously that was the initial concept and the concept that you still see now. But weirdly, they're like fucking crazy. So they've got like a £2,500 camera so it rotates 360 degrees. So just like imagine that. Then it oscillates 180 on that 360 degree platform.
That's cool.
And then then the lens is inside there, then that zooms 30 times. So what you've got is the ability to turn 360, oscillate 180, and also zoom 30 times. And they point it directly at a fucking dice tray. They could just have a static cam pointed at a dice tray. Yeah. It's so dumb.
No.
It makes me want to fucking like every time I go like they're like we're covering a game. I'm like, oh, actually, I'd like to see these players play. Mute the fucking audio, yeah. Unless my friend Rob's doing the talking, in which case I'll listen.
Okay.
Yeah? And then mute or John Bracken. either of those two are worth listening to, in my opinion. So in no other situation would I listen.
Not because of his dulcet tones.
John Bracken's great. But otherwise, I'll fucking mute it. And then I look at it and I think, oh my God, you're so fucking dumb. Because no one cares. Anyway, so what's really interesting now, because if you get three cameras, because it's not about delivering, like we talked about at the start of the show, it's not about delivering a top-down view of a table. Because it's a really odd thing. How do you film a miniatures game, but it's wide? Because it's 6 foot is the game, but sometimes it only happens in a very small space mechanically.
So it's pockets of space.
It's pockets of space, but how do you do that? Because you need the wide shot to understand the lay of the land. But then it's a bit like when you, if you've ever played like Call of Duty or any other game, where what you do is you zoom out for the map and you see like some dots and stuff, but then you go back into the first person.
Or just MOBAs. And you're panning on lanes.
Exactly. In MOBAs is a good example as well. And in MOBAs, they don't tend to give you like an overall, but there is a little mini map that shows you an overall. So it's fascinating as like a project to go through, and obviously like the setup the Games Workshop's using now is the same setup I left them with. So they haven't like innovated in any way, shape, or form.
Are you saying you left them with the oscillating, massive, wonky camera that pans in on the dice tray?
No, at no point would I ever put anything on a dice tray, like ever.
Dice.
Ever. Like if someone's like, I really want to watch a dice tray, I'm like, shut up.
Dice tray.
Yeah, like go home. Although I am thinking of just starting a independent stream on Twitch just called the Dice Tray channel.
And then someone busts out a dice app.
No,
There's nothing you can do with it.
I'm just going to put a dice tray out and just occasionally roll dice in there, 24-hour stream a day. Yeah, someone's like, I wonder if someone's got...
Yahtzee.
Yeah. But interestingly, anyway, and also the Templars asked, what about when I'm a Warhammer TV? I would never in my life watch anything about Shadespire, FYI.
Shadespire or Iowa Skirmish?
Shadespire would never play. But so what's really interesting about having 3 cameras that oscillate, that move around, is because then what your other question is. So one of the other questions we get a lot is, can we, like when Adam goes into the field, they're like, can we follow you? Or like, can you go show us what the tables are like?
Streaming.
Like, when you did the LCO coverage and you ran off, like to do like all the table coverage and you came back and did the reporting, people are like, can I see what's happening in that game at the same time? It's not impossible, but it requires more and more people. But the reason you have to spend £2,500 on one camera is because what you want is one person to be able to move a camera in loads of different angles, but that's all they have to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Otherwise, you have to hire a camera operator, and that's their job. And that's not very interesting. Also, it's actually just as hard to do because they have to be really, really good camera operators. Like you said, they're on a steady cam. Yeah. So do you know what a grip is?
Well,
so a grip's job on a film set is
it's a roll.
Yeah, it's just to pull focus.
Yes.
So their job, they don't set the shot. All they do is this.
Okay. I could do this for a job.
Please follow our Pornhub account. Anyway, that was a sidetrack because you idiots keep putting more money into the.
Just call the donors idiots.
Yes, please stop putting money into the account. I appreciate it loads. We're going to be fine. 2's good. 2's good.
2.5 is good.
2.5 is great. 2.5 is great. 3 would be amazing, but like anyway.
You can stop now.
Yeah, stop. You can stop. We're good. But you can do so much, like when it comes to coverage. And what's interesting is we don't actually even know what you can do because there's a huge limitation on what we can actually do when we do coverage because I'm stupid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like working out how to do the coverage, you've got that huge bottleneck of me, and then what happens is someone like Nikos comes in and goes, "What if we just put LEDs on the table?" And everyone's like.
At some point, we need to do a proper full day, fucking, just
working it out. Yeah, a workshop. Just loads of people just like walking around the table. Yeah, with a tape measure, just going.
What if we put this? Yeah.
The other problem you have dynamically as well. Like, so for instance, when you're like covering football, yeah, obviously you're following the football player. But when you're watching a game of Warhammer, you're following the model or the dice. you're not following the player, but the player gets in the fucking way all the
do.
fucking time.
Fuck the players. That's...
Oh no! Please stop clipping things. It says "Who are Mrs."
It's at least just clipped "fuck the players."
Oh, fuck. Everyone says it's at 3K. Fuck.
Well, we can't control this anymore. Just let it.
Thank you,
just
everyone.
let it ride.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I'm gonna try and do a show.
Very grateful.
Very so
grateful,
grateful. So I can't talk. That's the problem. I've been worried about doing the show all day because I'm like,
It's okay. I can go through my 5 notes of how to write an army list. If
Good.
That's useful.
good.
So
Yeah.
it's just monotone into a microphone for a couple of hours.
No. Yeah. That's just. Okay. All right. We're gonna. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. So it's complicated.
Yep.
So I appreciate that everyone not only threw their hat in the ring with the money, but they did it without really asking any questions. I wrote a big long thing for people to read. I don't know if you got the opportunity to read
The handbook.
No, the actual GoFundMe.
On the GoFundMe. Oh yeah, I read that.
Oh, you read it?
Yeah, I read it.
I don't know if it made much sense.
Yeah, it made sense.
But again, like I said, like the concept that at one camera is $2.5 grand, it seems mental to people, obviously. And
Well, yeah, that's reasonable.
yeah, it's so reasonable. Like it's so insane.
I think specifically in our community, we're fully aware that things that you wouldn't expect to cost a lot of money do in fact cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so another thing that, like, so for instance, like, so it's hit 3K, right? That's amazing. Thank you so much. So I was pricing up, because obviously now that there's going to be extra cameras and they're heavier than the cameras we used before, we have to get heavier stands. Yeah, and the stands cost about 700.
It's like upgrading your power source on a PC when upgrading your graphics card or whatever.
Yeah, so like it's like we've got these cool cameras now, so now you need heavier stands. But then there's like two conversations to have about the stands. We need really heavy stands so the cameras don't move. But then you also need really transportable stands because we have to get them to all
You
the
need some
different
really
locations.
hench men to move them around.
Yeah, well, no, you just need them, and they also not to be knockable, not in the way of the players, and also they need to be at like a fucking height, like at least 6 foot over the table, at least, maybe more, because players can be
Because
like,
players are
taller
taller
than
than
6
6
foot.
foot.
Yeah. So
Like
and-
we'd both bonk our heads on that.
exactly, and then you need to then, and not only that, you then need to you need to transport them.
Yeah.
So like we need to go to Canada. Yeah. Like you need to go to X, like
Belfast or
yeah,
Australia
Belfast,
or-
yeah, like
yeah.
or wherever, like wherever you're going, you've got to take it. So you've got like this like multi-layered system for purchasing for like, and also and again, I don't know if I can express this enough. I'm thick, so
And yet people are trusting you with this
yeah,
amount of
I
money
know.
anyway.
Please trust me. I promise I'll do the research. But
Dear.
yeah, so Gorlek.
Just don't pay attention to the GoFundMe in the chat. Just
Yeah, right. I'm
leave it
gonna
alone. Leave it
look.
alone. We'll
You
sort
guys
that
in the
later.
chat talk amongst yourselves. I love you all, and I'm gonna move away now, and we're gonna do the actual 40K thing. And I'm sorry.
We spent 45 minutes fixing the internet and talking about the GoFundMe.
I'm fucking so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's actually been useful though, because it gives people a bit of an insight in how you do these things, right?
Yeah, and also we're
logistics.
Colonel Cabbage. We're not going to call the roving reporter Git Mobile.
I mean, I'm fine with that. If I'm a roving reporter on duty, then I'm happy to be the Git mobile.
Oh, it would be fucking cool doing it full time though. Like, because Battlefield Birmingham was pretty massive for 40K, right? It's
Yeah.
like 130.
I can talk to Harry if you want.
Yeah,
to.
fuck. Like someone said, why don't you do Battlefield Birmingham? I'm like, why,
Dude,
why don't they just ask us?
I can get Harry on the line tonight,
Like,
and we'll
we're
have
the
a chat.
T-Sports
Yeah.
dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us the T-Sports.
Hashtag T-Sports.
Yeah, give us the shit to do, and we're doing it anyway. Okay, so look, so I want a new 40K army, and I've got apparently £3,000 to spend on it.
We're ready. We're ready.
Hooray, hooray. So not really. No, what I want to do is approach 40K from like the ground up again.
Wait a minute. The abbreviation of Battlefield Birmingham is Babby. So we've got Bobo and Babby.
Bobby and Bubby. Bobo, baby.
Bobo Babby. Bobo Babby. There you go. That's how it's going to work.
I'm not looking at the chat. I refuse to look at it.
Yeah, hide chat.
I'm
You
just
can
going to
click
hide
hide
it.
chat.
Yeah,
Hide chat. Just get rid of
okay,
them.
They're gone. Yeah.
Bye.
Right, bye. Love you all.
Thanks for money, lol.
I can't handle you right now. I can only handle Tom.
Sorry, I'm too much.
Right, so So I want a new 40k army, so we're going to step back, right?
All right, good.
So the first question, I think our hobbyists should ask themselves. Or my question is, Thomas, what's the first question you ask yourself if you're thinking about playing a new 40k army?
So thinking about playing a new 40k army, the first question you need to work out is which faction do you want to play.
The Bolt, thanks for subscribing.
So
Put Christ in the chat.
If I'm putting, if I'm putting like, what?
I just carry on, Tom.
Whatever.
I'm just gonna.
So
we're gonna struggle through this.
I'm
show.
going to take back to before I was kind of looking to play ETC, so I just try and play factions I thought were useful.
Okay.
So back in like 2010, I picked Orcs because I liked the idea of Orcs and I thought Orcs were cool. And then I played Space Wolves because I liked the idea of Space Wolves and I thought Space Wolves were cool. But I also thought they could compete because they were starting to go to things like Battlefield Birmingham and the 40k GT at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of went through that factions because I really like the idea of them and I like the bag of tricks and I like the hitting hard when you do hit and I like the kind of theme of these armies. So essentially you need to just start with factions. So what kind of factions interest you?
Okay. So I wouldn't necessarily say that. Yeah. So like, what's exciting? Like, I think it is.
What
key.
do you want to play?
So like, what's nice is then we get to move on to conversation that I think's beyond that. So I agree with you that would be my initial port of call. But actually, so one of the things you hear as an argument a lot of the time is you're going to spend a lot of time looking at them while you're painting and a lot of time on the tabletop. So you should at least like how it looks. But I would disagree with that massively. Because I actually think it's, especially for me, because I'm a mechanics player, I like doing things.
Yeah.
So for me, I want something that plays interestingly.
Yeah.
So things I would like are to win games, yeah. But more importantly, I would like things to play interestingly, and then we have an even more complicated requirement. And it's a bit like one of those charts, isn't it, where we've only got so many points to spend. So we can maybe put 8 points out of our 10 points, we can put 8 of them into plays interestingly, and then only 2 of them into I like the models or whatever. But my other requirement is that I would quite like to have a multiple different units as opposed to the same unit on repeat.
Yeah.
One of my army styles is often the same unit on repeat. I've always thought the golden rule of 3.
Stanley bastard.
Yeah, well, no, I've just always thought if ever for redundancy, if ever I like something doing a job, I have it 3 times. And I do it in a scene where there isn't a restriction on 3 of something.
And I do the same with Weird Boys because I know there's a good chance I'll blow their own heads off. So I just take a bunch of Weird Boys. I'm like, well, man, where's the backup?
So I've always had that as a system as well. I've always wanted there to be 3 of a thing, but then I'm happy to move away from that realistically. And I quite like having a bully piece, so something that people need to react to.
Yeah.
And I know you understand what that means.
Oh yes, 100%. So it's in the handbook if you're not.
Yeah, but I'll explain it out for everyone at home. It's effectively something that's quite dangerous that people have to react to. The problem with that, though, is what you tend to do is you tend to have to commit a lot of points.
You have to make it durable as well.
And then you have to make it durable. Then you end up spending more points to make sure it either does its output better or survives more.
So a good example of this would be things like Bullgryns, things like Meganobs, things like Paladins from Grey Knights, things like these types of units that you can walk into the center of the board and say, right, if you walk into this section, you're just going to die.
Yes. The issue then is that what you end up doing is because you're already giving, like, let's say a psychic power to Unit A of your bully unit, you sometimes will get another version of the bully unit because otherwise your psychic power, like, it can be redundant if that unit gets wiped. There's a bunch of options. So I think that's going to detract from me taking a variety of units. So I think I might that might be the one that I'm willing to, like, give on the most.
So are we going to end up with like an example at the end of this?
Yeah, I think so. I think at least a faction. So what I thought would be fun is to talk through the factions inside of those parameters.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
that's fine. Yeah.
And then what we could do is we could start to hone it down based off that information.
Yes, that sounds good.
I think that would be a solid system.
That's fine. So if you're looking for something that can produce a bully unit, we've obviously mentioned the examples of the Megadobs and
Let
Grey
me just
Knights.
get the chat back so
absolutely
they
fine.
can chip in with the conversation now. As long as they don't talk about the thing.
So I can make a list of bully units here. So we've got things like Bullgryns. We've got things like Meganobs. Can you think of any other bully units at the minute?
Well, so like, great question. Is it so? Yeah, grotesques.
Grotesques is good.
Talos.
You could even just take a bunch of Talos.
Yeah, Talos are a one.
Yeah.
I suppose probably in an annoying fashion, the other thing would
Wraith
be
Blades.
Wraith Blades. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, knights are a bully unit
Well,
in of themselves.
But then it kind of becomes like your entire army is just bully units, I guess.
Yeah, which is why I said
you
that that's
adjust it.
actually the thing that I'm willing to step away from the most.
Okay.
I think so. I said normally I would like that in my army,
Mm-hmm.
but the two things that I'm trying to step away from, which is why I want to have this conversation
Okay.
in 40k, is the rule of three. I'm willing to scarily run away from,
Okay.
because I'd like to learn a new style of playing
Okay.
where I have a variety of tools that
Yeah.
do a variety of things.
You can still take right. Here's my bully unit. It's in the center. Okay, and then I've got all these other units, and that enables the rest of my army.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
It's kind of like how I use my shining spears with my Eldar.
Yeah. It gives you freedom because there's threat, right?
It would unlock an ability to remove a unit that scares my Dark Reapers, and then my Dark Reapers come out and just clear up.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just reading the chat. Red War Rob says Lord Discordant.
Yep.
Camelot says Clydemus
Discordant's
Grav
good.
tanks. Looters are a bully unit, says Scriver.
No, they suck.
DeBolt says Dreadnoughts. Okay, fair enough, whatever. Jimmy says, I agree that the rule of three for redundancy just start my Eldar army and I'm struggling with
You're
this.
not going to get 12 rhinos from the conquest, but
Amsterdam Battle Brother says, do Gene Stealer Cults have anything that could be... Do Gene Stealer Cults have anything that could be a bully unit?
you could use aberrants. But the problem I have with Gene Stealer cults, they have one play style.
See again, and one of the things that I said in kind of my requirements is that I have a variety of ways to play.
Exactly.
And that tends to be something that you end up moving on. I think you'll move on to as a player at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you can play defensive with Gene Stealer cults, I guess, but it just doesn't win you games most of the time because you just get rolled. But
Yeah. So Torpolis says Morty.
that's-
Mr. Kapowski says Aberrants. Well, I did have a Morty Torpolis, but we had
damn it, Simon.
Yeah, but we had a break in October, and they stole loads of camera equipment, and most
Morty.
importantly, my Death Guard army. Do you remember when we had the break in?
Yeah, didn't realise it was stolen your Death Guard army.
Yeah, me either until the other day because I was spending ages looking for the Plague Monks. I was, where the fuck are the Plague Monks? And then John messaged me. He was like, oh, remember when we played Death Guard? I was like, yeah. He was like, they were in with them because using them as cultists. And I was like,
Fuck.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, they're in that KR case. Because it was like a KR. But anyway, so I lost the Death Guard army.
You can still use Morty if you want.
What?
You can still use Morty. if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want.
It's still, we don't have to have them as a requirement.
I could just lend you a Morty if you want
Yeah.
to use it.
Tell them on Dreadnoughts, says Mr. Kapowski. And then, so we'll go through. Oh, don't worry, Tolopolis. Like, I'm well over it. The camera equipment was more of an issue, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although weirdly, I was more upset about the Warhammer, even though the Warhammer is really much
If it's
cheaper.
got, but you're personally invested in it because you spent a lot of time. on it,
Yeah, I
right?
hadn't painted them, so I'm all right with it. Like,
Okay.
had I painted it, fury.
You bastards! I'm claiming my minimum wage on that.
Yeah.
insurance.
Right. So let's start through armies.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one that's interesting straight off the bat is Chaos Demons.
Yeah. Sure.
So initially, I look at Chaos Demons, and I think so. They've got loads of units. They've got loads of options. Yeah, and then and I know that actually now, obviously, there's. So we'll talk about factions just as themselves, and we'll talk about super later because I think that's probably a sensible decision.
yeah, sure. That's fine. It's just if we go for each individual faction, we might be here a while, but
I think because we don't, it doesn't have to be a long conversation.
no, of course.
But Chaos Demons, I think, while they have a variety of units, they actually don't have a variety of playing ways to play. Or do you disagree? And also depending on what's currently considered to be competitive. So as I understand it, Nurgle Demons are very, very solid and they do a really, really good job and have won GTs.
Yeah. Specifically in America, where they for some reason still haven't learned how to play against it.
Yes.
I'm throwing
But then
shade.
there's
I'm back to the cycle in the year where I throw
Yes,
shade
good.
at the NA
All right,
Max.
nice, fantastic.
Yeah.
But because obviously you've also got Thingy coming out soon, or not coming out. You've had the Slash Demons come out.
Oh, Slash Demons, yeah.
Yeah, you
with
have Slash Demons,
with
so-
Silesk and things like this.
Yeah, which seems really interesting.
Yeah.
And Chaos is something that interests me because also it means that I can cross system between two games.
Yeah, I mean, you could even take a mix with the Chaos Demons and the Lord Discordants, which are
But
really
again,
good.
we'll
But coming to suit there, yes. But so for Chaos Demons, I imagine you have things like Plague Drones as your bully units. I don't think the Plague Toads of Nurgle are good anymore because they've increased their points cost, which is a bit of an issue for them. So maybe you take something like that. The rest of the units, they can hit very, very hard, but then they die quite easily, or they don't die very easily at all, but they don't hit very hard.
Yeah, so K-Dash
So-
says, I think Pure Demons is essentially just pure defensive melee, as their shooting and psychic isn't going to be a fallback or focus.
Well, I mean, the horrors are okay.
The horrors are okay.
Yeah, 90 shots hitting on 4s,
Which
which
is
is on
a thing.
3s or 2s.
But again, you then end up having a lot of something.
Yeah, well, that's 30 horrors.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think Alandro says Nurgle is really good in ITC missions. Actually, that's also the other thing to talk about, probably before we get into it.
Which missions are we playing?
Which missions are we playing? So I think now I understand that ITC is massive, and I understand everyone in the
Which
world.
is why I think Plague Bearers are winning a lot of there right now.
Yeah, and I know that that's basically how people play 40k in most of the world, but not all of the world. But I live next to Games Workshop, where they just do it out of the book chapter approved missions, and I think I much prefer their playstyle. Like, I'm just going to say it now. I think the ITC has done an amazing job up until this chapter approved of being the game system that's actually a system to play,
Really?
as opposed to chapter approved missions.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Mainly because of Recon.
What?
Mainly because of Recon.
Yeah, and all the other fucking stupid ones, right? However, like the new chapter approved missions, I'm like, this is a game system, in my opinion. Like, and I like the concept that I can take an army, play it against Workshop at one of their heats, and then I can also take that army and go play it with my mates. And it's like the 6 aim missions that we're all playing together, like, and it's like pretty simple. And I like that. And while I understand there's a need to understand ITC and the way, because it's so massive and because it's so prevalent and because so many people are involved and there's so much money in it now, and it's like it is a
Well, I'm not sure about so much money when you consider how many people are playing the ITC missions. Like,
Yeah.
I just went and checked on Pabanda because I've only played one ITC event all year.
Yeah.
I don't really care, and I came like 8th in it, and I'm 1,319th or something on the global rankings, which means there are so many people
so
playing
many
it,
people playing.
but only one person gets to take home a big cash prize. So if you consider the number of people playing to the amount of money you're giving out, it's about like $1 a player.
Make sure you talk
Oh,
about
that's fine. Sorry. Yeah. It's like $1 a player. Is that really like like that much money?
Well, it's not necessarily the money. It's just more like the player base is huge, right? Like,
Oh
if-
yeah,
and-
yeah,
and
that's
if
fine.
we're gonna
It's just,
go- and
you
if
made
we're
a
go-
point saying there's so much money sloshing around.
And if we're going to go do top table T Sports coverage, and I think ideally, like, again, I don't want to like kick into it, but I think probably my job eventually is like show producer, right? Like, so the whole concept is that we develop a stable of commentators, because I'm happy to say that I can commentate a game of 40k pretty
Yeah.
well. I would love to see what a game of 40k commentated by like 2 actual commentators who've had some guidance, who are also like top tier competitive gamers. But being both of those 2 things at the same time is actually very, very hard.
Yeah, and even if you have like the experience of being a professional commentator and the experience of being a top level player, the dynamic is completely different.
They are ultimately very, very different. And because most of the time what you're actually doing is explaining top tier play down to 80% of the people who are just like, why do Grey Knight suck? And you're like, you know, so it's more of the role of translator as opposed to the role of like
That'll be the job of the color caster, and then you've got the play by play, I guess.
yeah, exactly. But there's a whole bunch of really interesting things to say about that. So I also think playing an army that would work well in ITC missions would be really useful, so that I could play a lot of ITC missions, so
Okay.
that I can commentate well.
We can do
because
that,
that's
yeah.
always something I need to do. My issue is in your opinion, and I'd be interested in the chat, how much do you think that skews that skews our choices?
I don't think it skews it that much. It just means you have to build it in with the secondaries in mind and with board pressure in mind. Now, with most of the missions, you're building with board pressure in mind anyway. Specifically, the Games Workshop ones, board pressure is incredibly important. ETC, you can get away with it a little bit and then just fly by the seat of your pants on Maelstrom draw, which is a luck-based factor, let's be honest. So, I mean, you're still building for board pressure. The difference is you're building for sticking power rather than clear them off the board power.
Yes.
And what you're ending up doing is you are also including a couple of little tricks, like, for example, including one fewer model in your list, so that it doesn't end up going over a certain power level for
Yes.
certain secondaries.
Yeah, so,
now, I
like-
don't really know about the secondaries that much because I don't play too much ITC. It just hasn't interested me as a system. I don't really care.
I
But-
don't want
Telopolis
to
does
be
that.
that guy, but the same. Like I really don't. Like I think like being a cross-system player, so playing both 40k and AOS. Like I've wanted from 40k forever. Just the AOS is great for a ton of reasons, but most importantly and vitally is because of the scenarios. And we had we did a show on the AOS show maybe a month ago or 2 months ago where we actually looked at all the scenarios in like minutia. Because we went to a couple of events, or there was a couple of kind of like events where one particular battle plan was causing people to just like auto lose on the first turn.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it's pretty much community, not Games Workshop, but community permaband. Like no one's putting it in a pack. Like everyone's like, no,
Is that Realm of Beasts?
no. It's the actual battle plan. So it's the actual mission.
Okay.
It's called Better Part of Valor, and it's now will never be in a pack. Just
Okay.
we're not doing it. Like as a community, and that's not just me. That's TOs. That's everyone. We had the conversation on the internet, all of us together, and we were like, "Cool,
No.
we won't do that now."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like recon.
Yeah, we just tried to avoid recon.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, and I think the chapter approved missions now, like, aren't. I think that they're a great first swing at 6 battle plans, which actually are a game of objectives over a game of kill. Especially now, just murdering stuff is like just killing your opponent isn't the game. Like, so versus ITC, where the same thing is true, but it's like deeply complicated. Like, not deeply complicated, but it's complicated enough that, like, I personally think that it's a bookkeeping exercise as opposed to a chess playing exercise.
Okay.
Now that's not meant to take away anything from the skill level of the people who do really well at it. I think that they're probably way better gamers than me and really impressive. I just think that the bookkeeping mechanics of it only really are used. Only affect a certain gamer.
So I think the bookkeeping argument can be made for either ITC or ETC because at the end of the day, it's one of your systems where if you're not innately familiar with it, you're going to be constantly checking back for how you score and what the secondaries are and all of that kind of stuff. If you play a lot of ITC, you'll I would imagine with Tolopolis in the chat, for example, he'll know all of the secondaries off by heart because he plays quite a lot of these ITC missions.
Yeah.
And he plays a lot of them in practice as well. So now it's like remembering which deployments are on which number when you roll a dice immediately. I don't remember it because I just normally say, oh, this is the deployment we're playing in this mission.
Yeah.
So when I go to a GW event and like I roll a 4, I don't know that it's Hammer and Anvil. It is Hammer and Anvil, but I don't know that. And the only way I learn that is through playing lots of games. So the bookkeeping element, I would imagine, drops off a bit when you are innately familiar with each of the different components.
Yeah. I think ITC is more bookkeeping.
Oh yeah, I think it's more bookkeeping than GW missions, but I think the ETC is the same.
Yeah, all right, fair point. Ash Loftus says, engineers make the Plague Bearers pretty easy to do now, coupled with recon, massive blobs of essentially fearless units is pretty big. The new chapter approved missions massively promote fearless hordes units camping on objectives.
He's correct.
Yeah, they are. You're absolutely correct, and that's also true for AOS. Like, but what's really interesting is then because now you've established a meta. Whereas I think what ITC do really really well is they have all these different missions, so you can play any army. And then try.
You can try and play.
Well, yeah, you can try and play any army, but actually, once you get a stable, healthy, this is the game format, as in these are the 6 missions and these are the things that can do well in it, fearless blobs. Then someone goes, right, I'm going to build an army that does something similar but deals with fearless blobs. Yeah, and then you've got a fucking game. Now you've got an established meta.
A meta. Yeah.
Then you've got a meta where there's an actual gaming environment, and then there are lists and counter lists. Whereas if every army can play its own style, yeah, which sounds great on paper, but as we've seen, something just floats to the top and is dominant.
This is why you end up with things like this is why I was like player intervention over developer intervention, because players will just naturally find counters to the go-to list at the time. Look at Simon's list. That creams fearless hordes.
Yeah,
it's horrendous. And by the context, Simon's in the chat, Stolopolis, he ran the Tower list with the Piranhas and won the GT.
which is a solid list.
With it, yeah, it's a really solid list, and it'll just murder those types of lists.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's get. I want to play Games Workshop missions, and I don't want to play ITC.
So you don't
it's
want to
my
play
decision.
ITC. So you're playing Games Workshop missions.
Yeah.
So that's 1750 points.
Also, Games Workshop, if you're listening, and sometimes you do, please don't make shit missions next time round, whatever it is.
They haven't this time round.
Yeah, in next chapter approved or thingy, please don't fuck me. Like, I just really want to just be able to play out of the book missions. Like,
so GW mission 1750 points.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But most importantly, I'm playing for their scenarios.
Yes.
That's key.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, faction.
Faction. So let's start with the faction. I've already got orcs.
Yes.
Okay. So let me tell you what I think about orcs. Yeah, I think orcs are orientated around large blobs of boys. Mm-hmm. And then I also think I think that's one build, and I also think the other build is that you could do. I know you don't agree, but I think that there's a gunline orc army. In not only the mech.
I don't disagree.
Okay, not only the mech guns, and because I don't think looters are the answer, but I think in addition,
I love how you're putting all these caveats on.
Yeah,
before
I think
saying the word.
Yeah,
looters.
but I think in addition, yeah, there's like a gun line there because actually one of the things I had problematically with the boys units is because they were my damage output and my scoring units at the same time. So what I ended up doing was using them to kill, and then I'm like torn between trying to do 2 jobs at once.
So the reason I don't really like the gunline builds, one specific reason I really don't like them is because they're reliant on outside factors, and one of those outside factors is terrain.
Okay,
So-
hold on. Let me just. Hellstorm Wargaming has subscribed for 4 months, 7 months in a row. I just want to say thank you so much. And it also says ITC is the best and chapter approved is for scrubs.
Who said that?
Hellstorm Wargaming.
Well, I mean, chapter approved is for scrubs, but so is ITC.
I like how everyone in the world is like, Rob, don't cuss out ITC, and then Tom's like, also I'm going to cuss out chapter approved. I'm sat in the third pot, yeah, over
Hey,
here.
I need to make myself noticeable in some way. I can just infamy is fine. Thank you. Oh, what was it going for? Oh, terrain. So
Yeah.
terrain is one of his big factors. But if you can build a gunline orc build with 3 squads of 30 boys, just melee boys.
Yeah.
Now, okay, you can hide in the terrain. You're just getting launched by 90 boys now. So those 3 squads of 90 boys will cost you 630 points, which means you're probably going to have to just under 1,000 points. To
So,
spend on
but
guns.
hold on, but again, to throw it against our parameters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're throwing it against our parameters. Number one, I'm repeating the same unit continuously.
Are you?
Well, so I would have 3. I know
You'd have
I need
18 mech
troops.
guns.
Yeah, so I've got a ton of mech guns.
Yeah.
I've got looters. I've got more than one.
And it's one playstyle.
Yeah, I've got more than one weird knob. Yeah. So and then there's just a variety of units that are just absolute. Like if say for instance, as a faction, if I want to get into it, in my opinion, there's a variety of units that are just absolutely no goes. Like just tons.
Yeah.
Like mega knobs in power armor. Like
I think you can make Mega Knobs work. I think you make Storm Boys work. I think you can make
Flash
Commandos
kits are a
work.
thing over
I
in
think
Europe, right?
Yeah.
Belgium.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's been doing well on the ITC circuit over there.
Okay, again, ITC, right?
Yeah.
But I think like lots of the bigger models are just like trash, like competitively. I think they're wonderful
Gorkanauts.
models. That's my problem.
Maybe okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then again, I think like the thing that it strikes me as is because there's quite a large points investment in those particular units.
Yeah.
I end up just being like, oh, I don't know. I just think they get nuked easy.
It'll be easy for me to talk about orcs in more detail in a few months' time, but
Okay.
I can't really go into
All
too
right,
much on it
okay.
right now.
So, but I think orcs have got a variety of stuff, but I think only 2 things stand out to play to win games, and then it tend to be quite spammy, and it tends to be like very on the nose as a play style.
Okay.
In my opinion, I
No,
don't
that's
think there
fine.
are lots of tricks. Okay, Tom disagrees and thinks
I'm
there
not
are those
disagreeing. No,
tricks.
I'm neither agreeing nor disagreeing. I just can't.
Yeah. So orcs is something I have, and
You've
could
played a
be
lot
thing.
of though, haven't you?
I
Maybe-
played them a bit. Like I just don't think that there's a huge scope for skill in the orcs lists.
Fuck you.
I just don't think there is. I don't think there is because like I honestly don't think that there is because I think that they pose a problem and there's always a skill you can apply to an army, right?
Yeah.
However, I don't think there's a deep learning inside of them
Okay.
because you don't have lots of options to go to.
Okay.
My thoughts.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Having looked through,
I'm not going to contradict you.
Yeah. Right, Tau.
Yeah.
What do you think about Tau?
I've played him once at a GT. It was very boring.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Played as them.
Yeah. I played Triple Riptide and a Storm Surge, and it was bright pink. And I played it at Caledonian Revolution the month the 8th edition dropped. And I just sat there and shot people.
So I think Tau are probably one of the most competitive books out at the minute.
I agree.
Okay, so we both agree with that. So
Yeah.
that would be those kind of if you're a new person, you're out there, you think, fuck, I might. To be number one, I'm fucking bored of this, guys. Like the 40 minutes I had to listen to about the GoFundMe before this question, but also
Still longer than a Tau.
yeah,
game.
look, Tau shooting phase, like, and that's the thing.
At least the Tau shooting phase has an end when you're all dead.
Yeah, well, so the thing I saw with Tau is that it tends to be the same units in multiple times.
Well, it's got the same kind of. It's got one play style, and you just build it in different ways. Although Simon's List again, a little bit different, but.
But yeah, so the same playstyle doesn't have lots of tricks. There's not lots of psychic powers,
I mean, it's mainly just characters being in range of things and using your buffs correctly and not running into the center of the board with
and
all
that's
your
and
broadsides.
that's a skill to learn and very valuable.
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't think it necessarily. I think it has a plan going in, and it does the plan.
It does. It executes the plan.
So for me, that doesn't even start to creep up on the flicking my bean where it gets. Oh, I'm so sorry for saying that. Of
Why?
I don't know.
Why did you just say that?
Coda Cameron says
Oh,
you aren't a Tau
no.
player. You just aren't.
No.
So
You can't scream at people as you fire plasma at them.
what to quote Hypnocracken? Whee! me. No, I don't feel I'm a Tau player either. So because it just looks like it's a plan you turn up with, and it's not reactive, and I want a reactive army as well as a proactive army. So probably mobility is a thing, but
You
we'll
want
get
the
to
cut
that.
and thrust.
Huh?
You want the kind of cut and thrust.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know.
The riposte.
The post.
Yeah. So Tau's out.
So Tau's out, Orcs are out.
So Tau's out. Orcs are out. What are the other standalone factions?
Necrons.
Necrons. I think they look rubbish.
Well, there we go. That's Necrons out then.
But that's no. But let's talk about it because people might be listening. Necrons as an army build. What are your thoughts?
I like Necrons. I think Necrons are okay. I think you can do. I think there's a bit of cut and thrust of Necrons actually. So if you want a break, you can do that. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I do like the idea. The Tesla Immortals specifically do a lot of work. You have the tricksiness of the destroyers in there as well. You've got a lot of units that you can stick in that kind of build. And then you have the Doom Sides as well, which gives you. So it's not so much creative with that build. It's more creative in how you use it and making sure you can screen properly and understand what's valuable, and work out which turns you need to have priority in, because you don't have the Vector Dancer or the Wings of Cain special rule on your planes, which means you only get a certain amount of time screening certain positions, right?
Yeah.
So it's about learning sequencing quite well, and understanding. It's kind of like playing Hearthstone, playing Necrons.
Right. So
you have to work out when's the best time to play certain things, and ideally when you want to be going first and second, and when your spikes are.
Okay.
It's weird to explain without playing a game. Maybe we could play a game on stream at some point with a Necron build.
Yeah.
But it does have that kind of cut and thrust. But if you don't like the models, I'm not sure it's for you.
No, I don't. I personally don't like the models. I also think that it doesn't. I see what you mean about that. There are some individual units. I just don't. I don't think it's very. I also don't think it's a very wide pool of units to choose from that are good.
It's that bad actually.
Okay,
I think
alright.
there's a good dozen potentially of units.
Oh, Grubby, thank you so much. Grubby says, subscribe for 11 months, says, stick with it. Good luck on the NDI cameras. Thank you so much, Grubby. You're a babe. I think Crons, personally, for me, I don't think that they're overly reactive.
That's fine.
But you've said different, so Crons are now in the maybe.
Okay.
There's something to explore. They are.
But if you don't like the models, though.
Yeah, I do, but actually, maybe that's just because it's again, if you're someone new listening, because of the Games Workshop kind of like, I personally think on their website they should just be like Necrons, and they should like flip a button and you see it in like a variety of fucking paint schemes. And I know with the heavy metal paints, like the painters like going like painting apart a whole army is just resources they don't. Well, I mean they make a lot of money, so it is resources they have. Not to be a dick about it, but like the old Tau.
Yes.
With
the broadsides.
The orange Tau that they used to put out before they reboxed them for this edition. So the
yellow ones,
orangey look. Yeah, I hated that style. But then, when they did them in white, I was like, robots in white? Are you fucking crazy?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm all about this. So just an FYI, sometimes it can be that. So there might be a cool looking Tau scheme, and I'm like, yeah, now I'm in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be something I do. Yeah. Or you can if the mechanics are good.
Do you know how they choose those schemes that they have in the box?
Well,
do you know how they choose those schemes?
Oh yeah, it's like fucking absolutely straight out like model conception. Okay. So Jez Goodwin.
Yeah.
So like with Old Art as an example, right? So when he's designing, it's a bit like Tolkien when he came up with races in Lord of the Rings. So he wrote a language, and then in order for the nuances of the language to be created, he had to create a story and history of how the language was created, which meant he created elves and dwarves and all the other shit that he did. Like, so they had a story so that he could point out, like, at this point in time is when this invasion happened, a bit like in England, and that changed the language in a certain way.
Yeah.
Same way how they do model design for this. So Jez will be like, okay, so they've got, they're all wearing red because at a certain point they all made a commitment to this thing, or like to Cain or whatever it might be, and so their arms are always red up to the forearm or something, and then everyone's like, okay. So, but there's a conversation between the model designers and the history that they write while they're creating the model, and then that's a conversation they have with heavy metal, and when they go and write the
So
narrative.
they are created to be painted a certain way, but obviously you can still paint them however you want to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. What I'm saying is the scheme that they come up with is like narratively created. Sometimes all the way out at producing the model,
Yeah.
and then sometimes it's a little bit later when it goes to like Phil Kelly and his team, and they like start writing the narrative, and then they'll choose, or they'll have spoken to the heavy metal team. The heavy metal team are like, look, these are going to look baller as fucking blue. We're going to do that. That's going to be our
And
system.
then they take a picture of that, put it on the box.
Yeah, exactly. Or they come up with a reason that they're blue. They're like, because they fucking love.
Blue.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Dakota Cameron says, no, Rob, you're not a towel player. Don't trick yourself. You'll hate that. Just shoot forever and your opponent just sits there rolling saves. Flame Farmer says, that annoyed me when they changed the Viola Sepp scheme to the white. Archean says, Thousand Suns, they're reactive, have punch durable. Yeah, I think Thousand Suns might be a shout as we get to it later.
Can do, yeah.
Flame Farmer says, he's saying, great shout also there. Ochre, thank you. That's the colour. Witch King, ochre was the colour. I think my main issue with Necrons is the troops aren't very exciting, says Alan Joe. I would agree with that as well. Okay, so we've done Necrons, and we've answered that question.
Yep, we've done
Necrons,
Tau and Orcs.
Tau, Orcs, and then Tyranids.
Okay.
What do you think about
Do we want to
Tyranids?
mix Gene Stealer Cult in there as well?
Are they not wildly different?
Yeah.
Let's just do Tyranids as a main. See, Tyranids are interesting, right? They're big monsters.
Yeah, but we've got one playstyle again.
So what do you think the playstyle
You
is?
take 80 Gene Stealers and you're running them down someone's throat.
So you look at that army and you think, I'm going to build a.
If I say I'm paired against Gene Stealers, not Gene Stealers, Tyranids, that's probably what I'm playing against.
Yeah, but when you actually look at the book and you look at the option of units, you think, fuck, I can't wait to play big monsters. Basically, I'm playing Imperial Knights, but I'm playing monsters.
There's a disconnect there.
There is.
Yeah.
And that is.
But you don't want to play big monsters because they suck dick.
Correct. So competitively, like I know that, like so I would be interested in playing big monsters, but you're right. I mean, it would mean that I wouldn't have maybe as many units as I would necessarily
maybe
want.
you can run Carnifexes because you can. There's lots of different types of Carnifexes, so you can spam them.
Yes.
So, but it's too expensive for what they are, I think, and they don't really achieve any missions.
I would say that that's true for all of those monsters. Realistically, I think.
Hive Tyrant is still okay, even though they've got a bit of a points increase. The problem that you have with Hive Tyrant is mainly the rule of 3.
What about the rest of the models? Like, because there is a ton more.
Well, I'm just not disputing that they're garbage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think realistically, for me, like as I understand it, and this is so pre the launch of 8th edition. I bought 2 armies. One of them was a big Tyranid army full of monsters.
Okay.
Because I'd got my hands on 8th edition before it came out.
Yeah.
Because I was working there at the time, and I was like, okay, cool. All right. There was a couple of units inside it I liked. I was like, sweet. I'm gonna take this model loads of times. This will be really fun because it reminded me of the scene from Starship Troopers. I was like, it's gonna be fucking rad.
So it was Carnifexes.
No, it was big gun on
Troops?
their back.
Oh, Bioballs.
Nope, bigger.
Oh, Tyrannifexes. Exocrine.
Exocrines.
Yeah. Tyrannifex Exocrine. It was
Exocrines. It was loads of
Exocrine is still okay, actually.
Yes, they are still okay. They are. It's just they just like you said, they just suck dick.
The rule of 3 really doesn't help.
Not at all. And then they just get blasted to fuck by like things like Knights and
Dark Reapers.
and a ton of other things.
Not
like,
the Dark Reapers are actually that good anymore.
No, they just. Do they even have an invuln save? They might have Exocrines. I don't think they do.
You can give them -1 with a Malin throw, but that's about it.
And then there's a key rule on this show, right? You don't take multi-wound models in 40k if they don't have an invulnerable save.
Big mod, yeah.
Yeah, you just don't take
But aren't characters.
Yeah, that aren't characters. Yeah, we just don't do that. So maybe there's. I think Tyranids is still a maybe, but it would have to be like a lot of research and a lot of hard work. And I still don't think that there's a variety of units in there, personally.
Yeah, maybe if you sneak you a Gene Stealer cult, maybe you can do something, but I don't know.
Okay. So then Gene Stealer Colts, what are your thoughts?
Again, one play style.
And what is that play style?
You drop into someone's face, you charge them, you kill them, or you don't.
Nah, I don't like that. That's a bit risky.
Unless you want to play the same thing, but with 3 vultures. So you kill it first, and then you charge, and then you kill it again.
Nah, don't like that either. Again, it seems to be just flying units, right? Like, not flying units, sorry, spamming. Like, it's the 3 vultures that's the strength.
I mean,
right?
they're all different units, but they all do the same thing, essentially.
Yeah.
Just in slightly different ways.
Okay. Yeah, and again, that doesn't tick on our box of complicated playstyle, right?
Right.
Or at least interesting or
Yeah.
or active
Intermediate
playstyle.
to advanced playstyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Not Who's There says it's fitting that the hobby criminal looks like they are in an orange prison jumpsuit. That's true.
That's fine. I'm all good with that.
Alan just says you can get away without an invent if you have a 2+ save. In his opinion,
Yes, you can, because what ends up happening is you need an AP -4 to get it to a 6-up save.
you do. So what you're saying
Anything
is
else, you've got a 5-up at least, which is your typical invulnerable save rate.
do you know what, Alan Draw and Tom, that's actually a really good argument. So if there are some monsters that have a 2+ inside
Dreadnoughts.
Tyranids,
No.
no, it's why the multi-wound models are so bad. It's because what they did was they made all this like variable damage weapons like las cannons and multi-melters and a bunch of other stuff, which is fine because you're like, cool, all right, that does d6 damage. And then they gave tanks a 3-up armor save, like, and then they were like, but this is AP3
Enjoy
as a
getting a
weapon.
5+ or a 6+ save.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, just make the multi-damage weapon because they already, not to talk about the mechanics of 40k, but they already answered the problem of something that does d6 damage being used on a single model by not letting wounds roll over.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter
Unless you're mortal wounds. Or you're one of those weird flails that the Dark Angels can get.
Yeah, but my point is like they already dealt with that problem. So if they'd have made at maximum something -2, maybe -3, they could have given all the vehicles 3-up saves. But they didn't. They gave them all. They gave everyone like at least -3, sometimes -4. So then these tanks go from like, and I get that they're tank busters, but you know it's a fucking tank, man.
Yeah.
Like it should get a save of some sort.
Even the tank buster should not always bust the tank.
Yes,
true.
So it's super weird.
It has
right?
a good chance of busting the tank, therefore it is a tank buster.
You can sit your whole shooting army on a Sky Shield landing pad for 5++ for 110 points, says Tolopolis.
No.
It's not interesting.
It's not about it being interesting, it's about that piece of terrain being an abomination.
A crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't think
There
it's
was an
interesting.
ETC once where someone hadn't painted the Sky Shield landing pad, and we were in somewhere in Eastern Europe. I think it was Prague or something, and they found a street artist, and he just did a bunch of stuff with like cones and painted it like it was like in space
Oh, really?
in the street.
That's cool.
It was cool.
That is cool. All right, nice. All right, okay. So we talk about Tyranids. So Gene Stealer Cults, no.
Off.
Tyrannids,
No.
maybe, if we
I
can find
just-
some monsters with a 2-up, because I think both of you made a fair point there. And I could take a Sky Shield landing pad like Tolopolis, but that does sound fucking boring, because then I'm just like stood there, right, with my dick in
Now
my
it's a
hand.
Tau army.
Nah, yeah, I don't want to play a Tau army.
You don't wanna play a Tau
I don't want to
army?
play a Tau
No,
army.
alright
But maybe 40k is just playing
Tau.
playing Tau armies
So
of,
I wonder
of
why Tau are good.
different varieties.
It's almost like the game is suited for Tau.
What, just shooting all the time?
Maybe.
Yeah,
That'd be alright.
Maybe. Hi, Hermanista, by the way. Okay, so no Tau. So now we start getting into. I think we've done all of the standalone factions.
We've done all the Xenos ones.
Oh, we haven't done the Xenos ones, Tom, have we?
No.
By default. But let's do it. The interest
Harlequins.
of prosperity, Harlequins. With all the bottles in the world, they just die. End of conversation. It's not an interesting playstyle when it's a dead playstyle.
Are you sure Harlequins are dead? Why can't I just take a bunch of transports?
So you can do that. You have a highly so it is interesting because like what's the difference between you running a combat unit at something right and doing its damage or flying a fucking vehicle nearby and doing all the shooting right next to it? You're probably right. It's a probably fluid. So we're talking about the build which would be fusion pistols inside of transports and then probably the mortal wound jet bikes.
Well, you just be taking as many troops as you can.
Yeah, inside
Just because
transports.
yeah, a lot of
and then
attacks.
doing fusion pistol shots forever.
Yeah.
Number one, there's sourcing fusion pistols, right? But I think you can get that on Pop Goes Monkey.
Can you take things that are cheaper than fusion pistols? Because you can rely on the haywire bikes to remove the vehicles, and then you can just take cheap troops and charge things.
Yeah, but the troops don't kill anything.
Don't they? How many attacks do they get?
A ton, but like so, and then if you have a troop master with them, they get to reroll to wound, which sounds great. And you can also get EP3 on them, which also is great. But you're talking about a unit if it's out in the field anywhere.
Oh, it gets traded.
It just
100%
gets
does.
it gets absolutely, and I don't think even a big group of 11, which doesn't go into a transport, yeah, and is also very
It's similar to
expensive.
Gene Stealer cults, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't trade well. It doesn't like
What if you comboed it with homunculus covens or witches?
So you could do that, but I think which is interesting. So we're moving on to Drukhari now.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I think there could be something interesting there where you have combat on the ground. You could even have the fusion pistol guys running around, and I like the ideas of like death jesters. I like the idea, and probably one of the, and that's why I picked up a Harlequin army. I think it's wicked. I just think the volume, because so we talked about both ITC and 40 and Games Workshop missions are very centered around there being hordes. Yeah, like and fearless hordes. So what you're talking about is armies that you turn up to the tabletop, you might think, right, I might have to clear 30, 60, 90 plague bearers off a table, yeah, or I might have to clear a bunch of other stuff. So there are bolter shots or something equivalent to a bolter shot everywhere in 40k at the minute. Yeah, you might have to get rid of 90 boys. Yeah.
Okay, so if you take the Plague Bearers as an example, they don't really have many guns. So you hit the Plague Bearer squad.
No, sorry. I'm talking about people who are dealing with the plague bearers. Right, so
Right.
so what you've got is you've got Custodies jet bikes
Right.
that just dish out
Well,
shots.
they aren't that common anymore, but yes, I get your point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are a ton of units that are just putting shots out for days, weight of dice, and Harlequin troops just even the bikes
Do
fall
you not put
apart.
out the weight of dice with the troops?
Huh?
Do you not put out weight of dice with the troops?
You do in combat, but like what I'm saying is they won't trade great, yeah, because they'll just get mown down by just pathetic shots.
Well,
like
If we take a Plague Bearer example,
yeah,
how many squads of troops do you need to pull in to remove a squad of 30 Plague Bearers?
pardon me?
How many squads of troops do you need to throw in to remove a squad of 30
I
Plague
wouldn't
Bearers?
know. A lot though. No, at least like so out of a transport,
Yeah, 2 maybe.
maybe 2.
Okay, and how many can you take? 6.
Quite a few, yeah.
So you can take 6. So you lob 2 in, you kill the squad of Plague Bearers. The Plague Bearers then charge those 2 squads of troops, wipe them. 2 more go in, kill another squad of Plague Bearers. They get wiped by a 3rd squad of Plague Bearers. Then 2 more squads go into Plague Bearers. You've killed all the Plague Bearers now.
But it's
now
not-
you've traded your troops for the entire horde.
That's not my point. My point is I'm not talking about dealing with plague bearers. I'm
No.
talking about the people who turn up to deal with plague bearers and turn up to deal with orc hordes.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys that have a lot of shots, a lot of bolt of shots, a lot of like rapid fire shots. Those guys
Right.
just kill my Harlequins
Right.
all day long.
But so now we're dismissing the list based off potential bad matchups.
I am.
And what I would say here is every list has bad matchups.
Oh, that's a good point. And high surfer dibs. That's a really solid point. But what we're talking about is I don't think it's an interesting play style.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
If we want to
because-
make that argument, that's
Yeah,
okay.
because the interesting no, hold on, because the uninteresting part about it is because every dickhead in the world with a bolter, yeah, makes my super elite killer Harlequins pathetic. Like you're talking about like like when you've got like I mean, never cuss out the heavy stubber, yeah. But you're talking about like a heavy.
Not while Hearthstone Wargames.
No, but like you got a heavy stubber, you got a couple of shots left on like a bike, even like a pistol on one of your fucking captains or company commanders, and it's just like another dead Harlequin, like you can just pot shot them to death,
And you feel it every time one dies.
and you absolutely feel it, and skill wise, as in complicated play, there's little apart from moving behind buildings, and again, it's very terrain dependent. It's just not there.
So it feels like the good matchups are too easy and the hard matchups are too hard.
There's-
It feels like you're not really
I
interacting.
feel like the easy matchups are not easy, yeah,
Okay.
and then everything else is just a fucking uphill struggle.
Can you not build for those uphill struggles by including things like Ynnari with the Yun card?
So
or with
once you
Drukhari?
get into soup and you
Yeah.
start talking about Eldar mix, issue then is I think then you are just doing the thing that is not uninteresting, but like I could probably as a playing environment, I'm almost certain whatever army I decide to play, I can go and find out how Drukhari play a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that'll
yeah.
be fine. Yeah, I don't need to play with them to like learn. I can see it a lot. I'm going to see planes in the sky. I'm going to see Talos. I'm going to see Grotesques. I'm already going to see like Dark Reapers. I don't have to worry about that's what I'm going to see. I'm not picking something. I'm not trying to be unique.
Oh no, of course, yeah.
I'm just, and I think the mirror matches would be fascinating. So that's actually a bonus. That's a plus point for
Yeah.
why I'd want to play it. I just think you see it so much and it's so everywhere that it's just like, okay, I don't need to jump into that pot
Yeah,
and learn those.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
yeah, that's fine.
Which
Makes
is
sense.
why I would play pure Harlequins,
Mhm.
but I just don't think that they've got the legs.
Fair enough.
They've got legs, they just don't work.
They do have legs. That's fair enough. So we can cross those off.
I can ask a great question. Have you thought about getting good, Rob? And I'm like, that is a solid point. That is a solid point.
That'll work. That'll make your Bretonians good.
Yeah, so Drukhari and Craftworld are off for me just because they're everywhere.
That's fine.
But Drukhari, I think, are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think both Drukhari and Craftworld probably fulfill all of the prerequisites that I've got
Yeah.
on there, which is probably why they're so popular.
Okay, so we're down towards the Chaos and the Imperium end of the section now.
Yeah, I just want to touch on those a sec. Would you agree with that? That both Drukhari and Craftworld have got like both wide books, deep books, and a huge skill base? Or do you just think they're really strong?
I think Craft Worlds in particular is less deep than it used to be.
Okay.
Just because it's been out longer and Games Workshop have been kicking that dead horse for...
As long as they can.
Yeah, for as long as they can. It's like bad enough Aurelia means. But Drukhari still a pretty deep book. I haven't really been to a massive singles event for a while, actually.
Okay.
So the last big one I went to was Into the Hellstorm 2. And before that, the last big one, I think, was it Caledonian Uprising?
Right.
So that was in January. So I can't really vouch for how common they are. So I'll have to take your word for it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Pretty much it.
We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Flavin Farmer reckons he's going to get his to work, his Harlequins.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So moving on to
Chaos and Imperial. Which one first?
Chaos and Imperial. I actually think probably where I'll settle is Chaos.
Okay, so we can look at Chaos first.
But we'll do Imperial first.
Okay, fine.
Because so let's start with the big boys in the room. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the power armor of all of our flavors.
Oh yeah.
Or do you think that there are any that play differently enough that it's worth looking at?
I think Marines are good.
So Marines.
I think Marines are good.
So let's break it out. So Telopolis is in the chat. Deathwatch.
Deathwatch are decent. I think Deathwatch. I think there is now an argument to see which is better, Vanilla Marines or Deathwatch.
Okay, so Ultra Empires, just subscribe to the chat. Thank you so much. Is this all building to Rob building Renegades and Heretics army? I don't know what it's building towards. I actually think the suggestion of Zinch earlier was a really good shout.
Thousand Suns, yeah.
Thousand Suns was a good call. And I think that like you can do a lot with like we'll get onto it, Chaos Marines. So normal Marines, for me, I mean, there's the obvious factor that some of them I think are a tad dull. But I would be quite interested, I think, by the Primaris element of it. So it would be things like
Intercessors and Repulsors and potentially that new Shadow Spear set.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I quite like the idea of Flamestorm Gauntlets and things like that. But again,
so trash, though.
Exactly.
They are trash.
Yeah, I know that that's not really the way. My issue is that it's a fairly elite-ish army, Marines all over, and the vehicles are pretty much like. I mean, like there are a lot of Space Marine vehicles, and you see not very many Space Marine vehicles.
I mean, you can take 12 rhinos. You can still take 12 to 18 rhinos.
I don't mean that. I mean that there are like Predators and Predator Executioners, and like there are a ton of different like types
Razorbacks and these types of things.
Well,
and all the different Dreadnought types. We did a whole Dreadnought show.
Yeah, there are loads. So it's got like the widest pool. But then when I see lists and I see things being run, like I tend to see
the same shit,
the same stuff, and I don't know whether or not that's the player base. Like, I don't know if I don't have the knowledge base enough to be like, oh, do you know what? Or it's the player base.
I did write a list that was slightly under 1K, but I think you might be interested in. Ready?
Okay.
Kayvon Shrike, a lieutenant with a jump pack, and 3 squads of 9 scout bikers.
See, but that's spam, right?
That's under a K.
But what would that do?
It runs up and shoots you in the face over 100 bolter shots, rerolling to hit and rerolling ones to wound.
Okay. See, that doesn't sound interesting for me or my opponent, because what you've
That'll
done
kill
there
Harlequins.
is you built a Space Marine Tau
That
army.
kills Harlequin, except it moves.
Except it moves.
Yeah.
Sorry, a moving
And
Tau
it's
army.
nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah.
It's like Cantabrian Circle. It's like the Huns.
So that sounds like a Tau army, and I'm not against that.
Well, we are. We've crossed it off.
We have crossed it off. And Sinisa's put sounds a lot like 40k, and that's true as well. So I don't want to run away from what the game actually
That's under
is.
1,000, so you can take some cool toys afterwards.
Yeah. Right, but let's. So the core Space Marine book, Ultramarines.
No, Matt.
just boring, aren't they? But like play style, we're talking about play style.
Bobby G. You stick Bobby G in, you stick some guns around
But
him.
maybe there's a non-Bobby G version, right? Like maybe there's my issue again with the. I quite like the
Right.
idea of doing everything on foot. I do love power armor
Right.
and cover.
What
I think power
benefits-
armor and cover's cool.
That's fine. But what benefits do Ultramarines get?
Fall back and
others?
shoot.
Oh, great.
That's a thing.
Yeah,
That's a thing.
not if you're going to take eliminators or just stick him in front. I don't know. Fuck off.
It's just something about it. It just makes me want to not play it.
Okay. that's fine.
And I don't think that there's an intuitive depth, but then maybe there is as well. Like psychic, their psychics are fairly expensive, but they have
What is it, 115 points of Libby?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, what about Blood Angels?
but it's
or
2
Space Wolves?
casts,
Yeah.
which is a thing. So you could do some really interesting builds, but they don't have any overarchingly powerful in-game effects. Like Null Zone's interesting, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
do
funny.
like that. And I think that playing around with Null Zone could be really, really fun. Like if you,
But then you need to lob your expensive librarian into the center of your
is
enemy
he
army.
that expensive? 115 points.
You just said he was 30 seconds ago.
No, I meant to like as dominance, right? As like to do a
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
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 Um,
And even then, you've got to pass it, and then your opponent's probably going to get a chance to deny because it's so short ranged. There's such high variance
in
for
that.
the cost. Yeah.
Exactly. So Marines. So then there's the other Marines, which
Blood
you don't-
Angels, Dark Angels, and Space Wolves.
So Blood Angels, combat orientated and seem okay-ish. I've played with them and I played against them. I think they're fine. But again, I feel like I turn up and I do a thing with the Blood Angels list. That's how I feel. I
That's
feel
fair.
like I turn up and I'll do my fighting,
Yeah.
and that's what and that's okay. I don't mind that as a process. Do I think they're great? I think they're okay-ish.
I think they're good as allies.
Yeah, but I don't think it's particularly interesting.
No. That's fine. Sanguinary Guard maybe are kind of cool. One Squad of Death Company is probably kind of funny.
I think so.
But again, it's allies.
I think Space Wolves are interesting.
Yeah, I think I might play a bit of Space Wolves after ETC's done.
Because I think Wolfen could be really fun.
They are fun.
So you could do some cool things with Wolfen. I think they've got some moves, and you can still add in all your flavors of other shooting into it. It's just Space Marine shooting is so orientated around a reroll here, a reroll there. I feel like it doesn't plug. Maybe I like the idea of Wolfen.
Yes.
I would like to maybe play Space Wolves.
It's about making them work, though, isn't it? It's about making Wolf.
It's about making the Wolfen work. So if I was to play Space Wolves, it'd be to make the Wolfen work.
Yeah.
Because I think that's an interesting mechanic. Like them.
Oh, you're putting them down as a maybe?
Putting them down as a maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Kapowski says, I'm building Intercessor-based Blood Angels army.
There you go.
Dr. Robotnik says, Raven Guard Primaris, ?
Maybe.
Maybe. And then White Dwarf Crimson Fist says Pokey John.
I haven't read enough about Crimson Fist.
gonna
I've got
also
White
say
Dwarf
no.
on my shelf, though.
Yeah. And Steve says, I'm not going to lie, Primaris Blood Angels are sexy models. That's fair.
They are sexy models.
Yeah. So I'd be interested in Space Wolves, maybe. Yeah. Dark Angels, I'm interested in.
What are you interested in about Dark?
So I'm interested in their Terminators.
Okay, so it's like a Deathwing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Although
If you like Terminators, maybe you go Wolves, though.
But then I think that army again is very just you're going to do a thing.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't think.
Here's my trick. There you go.
Yeah,
You can have a deal with it. You can't.
and I don't think Space Marine armies react well.
Yeah.
They're not reactive because you spend a lot of points on.
It's mainly if here's your castle, it moves at the center of the board.
Yeah, or this unit's going to hit. Mobility is not.
Maybe Deathwatch are quite reactive though.
So the suggestion that let's do Deathwatch.
Are we definitely doing Deathwatch?
No, let's talk about Deathwatch. Deathwatch is definitely a maybe, I would say. So reactive,
Yep.
yeah, quite a wide book because you've got a variety of options and it's quite complicated
Yep, and you can change all of the word gear on literally everybody.
all of the time.
Love it.
So it's quite a cool modelling opportunity because the opportunity to just jump into just be like, I'm going to put a frag cannon in this squad now and then not. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's also great in Kill Team.
That doesn't bother me.
Are you saying your interest in Kill Team is about the same as your interest in AOS Skirmish, Rob?
Same. Top is killing out Deathwatch vets with lots of upgrades, including close combat weapons and frag cannons, is great fun, albeit less competitive, says Telopolis. But there you go. That's interesting. And I do like that. Each model is a hero. Is definitely ticking that kind of
Which is why Wolves are in there as well, because Wolves are very similar in that kind of regard.
KR Quinn says, don't underestimate the dirt cheap storm shields on Space Marines. If Primaris get them, watch out. Oh, look, 3-up infunds, not
That would
anything
be
to laugh
silly.
at.
No, I'm not. It's just like, please don't do that.
Alejandro, the DA trick is what plasma squad is getting weapons of the Dark Age. Carmack, Rob, I've got 2,000 points of Death Watch you can borrow if you want to give it. Well, thank you, Carmack.
There you go.
I think
Very
I might try.
cool.
Dr. Robotnik, ammo choices. Black with different flannel shoulder pads, says Denise. Then Git for deal what says for the Omnis Eye. So that'll be something cool to move on to in a minute. That's a strong choice.
Yeah. We haven't done Grey Knights.
No, hold on. Let's stay with Death Watch.
Oh, we're still going.
A variety of options.
Yep.
Quite a wide pool.
Yep. I think you still could do
Low
some
model
allies,
count
though.
to paint. It's pretty cool. Huh?
You spray them all black, you're done.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Just spray them black.
Let's just spray them. Just spray 'em black.
Spray 'em black.
You got anything negative to say about it based on my
If you want
parameters?
a brick unit, you might have to ally something else in.
Okay.
That's about it.
All right. Fair enough. And I mean, obviously, it's in Imperium, right? So you can actually
which you can do.
You can keep doing it. Okay. So Death Watch is very big potential.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's got lots of tricks you could learn. Oh, you've really tempted me. Okay, all right, that's a
There you
high
go.
maybe, I think.
There you go.
We've done Blood Angels, done Dark Angels.
We just need two Grey Knights.
Grey Knights. What do you think about Grey Knights?
I
I mean, I know that they're the internet's kicking stick.
do you remember that dude that I played at the GT final?
The Scottish fella that I played as
Yeah.
well. He's great.
He won an event with his Grey Knights.
He's fucking solid with them as well.
It was very
He's-
funny.
He just
Yeah,
didn't
good.
fucking stop. He just wanted to play.
Yeah.
I mean, 2-up save on the...
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. They're like Lord Discordant, but can teleport.
Yes.
And with fewer attacks, apparently.
So, I mean, they're interesting, but they don't have a variety of units.
This is true.
They kind of do the same thing all across the board.
Maybe you can ally in with the Death Watch, and then use them as kind of a brick unit.
But you could have how much do the Dread Knights cost?
I don't know. I can check it up.
But you could run triple Dread Knights, right?
You could, but then are you using it as a brick, or are you using kind of like an Alpha Strike launch free into your opponent's face?
I just think
and
it's the same way that you would use your Shining Spears, right?
Oh yes, it is. But the difference with the Shining Spears is that you can fit them in little gaps, whereas Dread Knights have got big fuck off bases.
That's true. But
you can't.
they're also badass.
They are badass.
Yeah.
You can do it one at a time, like lonk, lonk, lonk.
Yeah. Chaos Quinn says, yeah, my buddy Storm, Space Wolves seem to have Storm Shields everywhere. Frustrated, lol. Camelot suggested, because we will get to that. Valerie says, nah, poor Grey Knight's getting nerfed every FAQ. Alandro says that they won a GT.
Yeah, that was Stefan.
Yeah, Chaos Quinn says, because it's a bit limited if you're not allowed to use forgery units, a bit one-dimensional. Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute.
Yeah.
So I think at least the Grey Knights are in. But again, I'd be taking 3, right? I'm just like, this is good, repeat.
Yes.
Yeah, please print
Well, you
out
don't have
3.
to take 3. You could just take one unit of Paladins.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. That's very interesting.
Yeah, just walk it in the center of the board and laugh at people with Chapter Master Voldus or something.
Evening,
inside the
Chris. Servitors in chat.
Nice.
So then, Grey Knights. Again, all of the power armor when we talk through it is I picture the army in my head, and I know as I start adding it up, I know that actually I'm reducing down, and I end up with not as many units as I wanted. I almost kind of want like trash tier with a couple of like elites in there.
I thought you wanted a list that wins games.
No, I mean like something where I've just got a lot of crap on the board, but there's also stuff that pulls its weight.
So it's like Lawrence's army when he had about the minimum number of points of Grey Knights that he could take for his army to count as Grey Knights for the ITC, and then a good army.
No, it's more like, as someone suggested in the chat, renegades and heretics. So you would have like you could have a bunch of hordes for board control, because I like board control. I think there's always something powerful in movement, right?
Yes.
And then the concept of being able to, because I think what's an interesting play is creating board space and control and blocking stuff, especially in an objective-based game, because you're playing the board as opposed to my army gets all the rerolls. Which I think is a different setup.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a lot of board presence, which is great, and I'd probably put that in there as something I'd like to have, which I don't think Space Marines have. A lot of board presence, and then you hit with your units. You hit with you unleash the Kraken. You do your work.
Please don't unleash your Kraken.
Jimmy says
Not like
orcs,
that.
but I disagree, because I don't think orcs have the Kraken unit.
But what unit? The
Orcs
Kraken?
don't have the Orcs Kraken unit are their board control unit, which is
Megadobs.
the boys. Nah, come on, it's not Megadobs. They're okay.
Are they?
They're 6 out. They're maybe even a 7 out of 10.
Maybe an 8 out of 10.
All right, fine. So you're telling me to get Mega Knobs?
I'm telling you, Mega Knobs could be okay.
All right, okay, all right. You are interesting but not competitive. No one will play it, says Valerie. Cone Cabbage word bearers then start with Cortis and summon whatever you need for each situation. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Magnus, bang.
Scriver says Deathwatch with Funky Dreadnoughts. Okay, so that was that conversation about power armor. I think we covered it all.
We've got Custodes and Admech. We can
So
talk about.
we'll do Custodes first.
1 unit is good. There you go.
No, the Forge World units are good.
Yeah, but they're too good.
Yeah.
So Forge World units are really, really good. The infantry is okay. It's not bad. I think you can do things with it. Like Toby's going 3 and 2 at events and stuff, isn't he? With his foot Custodes.
I think what's cool about that, especially like if you go into like they are very much they're the almost antithesis of the of the build that I would go for, which is I want cheap trash board control. They are quality board control. Yeah, yeah, and then they're often backed up by things like assassins or psychers to do like the interesting like nuanced bits.
Yes,
so it's almost like they have
true.
the golden like castle shield bulwark, and then they have all their mechanics behind that, which I think is cool. I really like that.
It's very soupy though, isn't it?
It is soupy, but I don't mind that, and I like. It's a very interesting play style, especially like how am I going to drop this in? Am I going to like it's
Well,
all
it's
about
like Deathwatch then, isn't it?
yeah, I think so. I just think that it's very like I think the bit behind the Custodes is quite obvious, and not obvious. It's quite complicated and interesting, but the Custodes walls are a bit like
I agree.
bleh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a bit. They're kind of like Deathwatch, except they're more like a hammer rather than something a bit more subtle.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So I think, but the Custodes are cool. Like I fucking love the narrative as well. I think the models are badass.
Knights
We haven't done Imperial Knights
or Admech or any
so
of
we'll
the
do
chaos.
Imperial Knights
yeah,
first.
yeah. There's
Imperial-
so many.
Imperial Knights. Not interesting.
Fair enough. Next, Admech.
I just don't think they are, especially as a playstyle.
Yeah.
Admech, I think, could be really interesting. They get the transport. It does look fucking awful,
Okay,
in my opinion.
that's fine.
Those are my thoughts.
It does look like one of those kind of D-Day Atlantis, doesn't it?
So if you look at everything from Forge World, you look at everything from Games Workshop to do with Mechanicum ever, if you look at Tech Marines, if you look at anything that's ever even been a reference to the Mechanicum or Mechanicus, whichever you want to talk about, and then you go, right, and you put it all on a picture, and then there are 2 fucking models that stand out. There are the Castellan robots, which are dumb as fuck, yeah, and they look like they were designed by a child.
kind of looks like a Futurama hover limo.
It's just
doesn't it?
awful. And then you've got this new awful,
Hover limo.
Yeah, a hover transport that's crap. And it's also like everyone's like, yeah, the design's so good. And I'm like, it's so blocky.
The
And
number of memes on Twitter immediately. As soon
it's
as that was
just
announced,
really
brilliant.
poor. Yeah, it's really poor. But anyway, don't hate on Baymax in 40k, says Zyko.
Oh, no.
And then and Gitfiddle says Transonic Arquebuses. So I already have a big Mechanicum army, Mechanicus army, and it's badass, right? Like
Forge
now,
World.
well, it's yes, all the models from Forge World, please. But it's whether or not it can do a complicated playstyle. I love the arquebuses, as Gitfiddle's put in there, Transonic arquebuses. So I love the snipers. They've got inbuilt snipers in troops.
Yeah,
Interesting. It's just the playstyle that I see.
it's kind of like Tau, isn't it?
I do think it's kind of like Tau. I would like it if I could. I do like the Rust Stalkers, but when they get there, they don't do a thing.
Are they the chicken legs?
Yes, with the 5-shot pistols.
Also, they took away the Styges infiltrate as well.
Which is an issue. I love the Dragoons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of board control with the Dragoons, but they can get focused quite hard. And like if you put them in Styges so that they're -1 to hit, the Dragoons are -2 to hit naturally, which can be so frustrating if you're against the right matchup. And they're great on the charge, and it's cool. I've used it quite a few times, and things like Knights just kick the living fuck out of them, and I mean literally kick the fuck out of them.
The Dragoons.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they're like, we move faster.
And when you hit him, then you die.
Well, you don't even no. The Knights move faster.
Well, if you infiltrate, well, I guess you can't infiltrate now. But
Yeah. The Knights move faster than the Dragoons. So you're talking about combat versus combat, and 9 times out of 10, the Knight wins that fight before you even get to shoot.
And then when the Knights mix in Blood Angels as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay.
Oh shit, you're right. Amit robots are future armor now. I can't unsee it. Look, Look like the hovercraft from Beyond Good and Evil Tank Mode. No one's. Hey, glad to finally catch one of your shows live. Thanks very James Jenk. Been nice to listen to the pod as a new 40k player. So looking forward to listening back to this. I think this will be a helpful one for 40k players. I'm the only one that bloody likes the transport. Says Dr. Robotnik, and then Witch King says Witch King hates it.
The name.
Hates the transport. I think. But there's also the termite drill from Forge World, which is fucking rad.
Is that for? That's the thing where it's like half.
Yeah, it pops up.
You know, when we're making that joke about the Trigon, where you could say, well, its ass can be one model, and its head can be another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually am very interested in AdMech. I played them when 40k first came out, and they are trash tier. They were trash tier then. Then the book came out, and we still were aware that they were shit. I think, but they got a lot of points reductions over the past 2 chapter approves.
AdMech, yeah, they did, they got the Vigilus Defiant attachment, which was important,
which is very cool.
So though that's just for context, that's a 5+ vulnerable save on your destroyers and your Cataphrone breaches.
Yeah, and I do like the concept of running a big brick of them. But I feel that's very again Towie.
Yeah, so basically AdMech is too much like Tau. No, thank you.
No, thank you. I'm super interested. I would like if I could make a Tau list, not a Tau list. If I could make an AdMech list that was really dynamic, I'd do it. They just don't have a mobile unit.
Yeah,
that's my issue. So they have no mobility.
You're not
so you
tempted
can
by those hovercraft.
But it's a transport, right? But what am I going to transport there?
I don't know. What
priests?
Can you put in there? Yeah, but they just don't we deep strike turn 1 or some shit.
No, you can do a few things with priests, but and they're cool when they get into a fight because they end up getting a 3-up. So imagine they're way better. They can do mortal wounds. They're cool as fuck, the priests, and having the transport to get there. And if I had to buy the derpy transport so I could have an interesting game, I would. Yeah, I'd just make it look better than the fucking travesty it is. And you could use the termite as well, which is why I brought it up. But I just don't think the book, so the Mechanicum book, has the depth to make an interesting list.
Okay.
And that's a challenge to the internet. Send me an interesting list there. There isn't a bunch of destroyers.
Define interesting by your own standards.
Okay, there isn't a Tau list.
Okay, good. There we are.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's got mobility.
So the chat can
I think the list lacks mobility, and I think Dragoons are a very which are a good mobile unit. There's some mobility in Dragoons, but they're going where once you put them down, they're movement 10. They're going in a straight fucking line because they're going for combat. They can't move twice.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, you can't advance and charge. As far as I'm aware, so they're going in a direction. Oh, it is. Thank you for subscribing for 2 months.
Whoop. Thanks, Ennis.
So they're going in a direction. So I put them on the board, and you as a player with a unit that moves.
That looked familiar.
Yeah, you as a player with an army that moves 42 inches, you go right. He's coming this way. He's never gonna fucking get me, and that's it.
Potentially.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the same issue. It's the same issue for boards.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, I'll go for that knight, and then the knight's like, I'm faster than you, dickhead. I'm gonna get you first. You're like, oh.
Yeah, we are definitely stereotyping all of these factions. So you can obviously try and be creative and build something.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We have to be. We can't.
So there's a maybe on them if we can make something creative.
Yeah. So what you end up doing is you pick a faction, you try and write a list for it. So if you don't like any list you can write for it, you just move on to a different faction.
Exactly.
So we're very much going through this very, very quickly and stereotyping each of the factions. So we're not necessarily saying this faction is boring and crap and no one wants to play it. We're saying based on the very basic information and what we kind of know.
Either the games that we've played, the games that we watched, or based on tournament results.
Yeah, you personally do not want to play this faction.
Yes, but Mechanicum is a yes, or Mechanicum's a maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Same with Space Wolves.
I'm just looking at the list and there's a lot of crossed off ones here. So we've been slagging off a lot of factions.
Yeah, well, some people are like, do you know what I want to do? I want to sit here for 4 turns and roll dice. You're like, fucking crack on, son.
You enjoy yourself, bro.
Yeah, because
you want a beer? You want a beer?
This is a personal journey. It'd be cool to get someone else on with different parameters, and their parameter is like, I want to move 3 models around. You're like, I know the faction.
Well, we could just do with Nikos saying, I just chill, mate. Just with 4 Crusaders just sitting there shooting people.
Can you clarify what Tau list you are comparing to? Is Tau Sept or a bunch of broadsides and loads of Fire Warriors, Market Drones, Shield Drones, either Castle list or similar Castle list? Didn't he just say the same thing 3 times? Surfer Dibs.
Oh, it's a Surfer Dibs.
Yeah. Aren't all the Tau lists basically stand somewhere and shoot?
Simon's isn't, but
Well, explain to me how it's different.
Simon's is Piranha's where he walks up screens and then chews.
That's at least different.
Yes, a little bit different.
Amsterdam Battle Brother says Amet can be pretty good in close combat. The whole army is a nice mixture of combat and shooting units. You can have bullies on the table, which I agree with. I just don't think you can get them there sometimes. Dave Frazier, also, you fucking gorgeous man. Says the answer here I'm hearing is just play knights. Maybe. I don't think that's the answer though.
We do cross off knights.
Yeah, James Jenk. I don't think you can subscribe from a mobile device, but someone will have to tell me. Innes, is there an advantage to not having to move models if your goal is to drink as much as possible at an event? Good point.
Yes.
That's not Innes. That's not mine. I'd like to play.
Well, he's Scottish, so.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. Also, just make sure you buy all the milkshakes you can, Innes. Just have one to hand at any moment.
But you can trap your opponents in the gaming hall.
On the other side of the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not. Can I come round and move this model? No.
So, we didn't talk about the Custodes jet bikes. They're pretty fast, right?
We did talk about them. They're boring.
Well, we are. Please don't. We're not trying to insult your factions. So I think I'd make Liz a maybe. Nice. We've done Sister Battle aren't out yet. Imperial
We've
Guard.
got the Beta Codex.
Yeah, we have Imperial Guard.
Yes.
Loads and loads and loads.
Hey, it's Tau Army.
It's
not
mean,
quite a Tau
so I ran Bullgrins before.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I really like. So if you guys
Basic
aren't
brick
aware,
unit.
yeah, I used to run 2 units and 9 Bullgrins and run them around, and that was fucking hilarious fun.
And you used to call people racist when they shot the wrong unit.
Only when they shot the black ones.
They are racist.
If they shot the black ones first, that's racist.
It is racist.
Yeah, thank you.
Why? Why would they shoot the black
Why
ones?
would they?
Not like they're further up the board and the white guys.
Yeah.
One could argue that's racist.
Some could, but they'd be stupid because we're talking about 40k, the most racist game of all time.
It is, yes.
Yeah, it's literally, are you not human-centric? Murder them. Yeah.
Even men, sometimes, if they are human-centric, just murder them.
So I would say, personally, that Astra Militarum has got a lot of interesting tools.
Yeah, lots of units in that book.
Lots of interesting.
It's very good for souping.
It's very good for souping, obviously, there's that. But I would like to not just take 32 of them. I would like to add some stuff in. They have the issue, obviously, with the vehicles that the rest of the game has is that their vehicles, while cheap enough for it to not be too much of an issue, is that they suffer that problem that they don't have an invulnerable save. But that's not overly an issue because they're normally very cheap.
Do you like massive, obnoxious tanks?
Yes.
And you like the Imperial Guard? Just take one of the super heavies, dude. Take 3 of the super heavies.
You can't give them an invuln save.
It doesn't matter if you've got 40 wounds. It's having a save. It just kills everything.
It 100% does matter because they
Pew
fucking
pew
suck.
pew pew pew.
I took a Stormlord once and he just died
Is that
to
one
some
with
missile
60
launchers.
shots?
No, that's the one with 9 las cannons on it.
Right, that's your mistake.
Lots of interesting tools, and they all suck. Says Telopolis, talking about the Imperial Guard. They do have lots of interesting tools, and most of them suck.
Which is what happened. Well, same with Space Marines. You've got a really deep book and only a few units that you'll take all the time.
Yeah, that's why I took the So I've run Astra Militarum on its own. I've run Astra Militarum, so with loads of Bullgrins, lots of infantry squads. That was really fun. We did a stream game where I took fucking tons of infantry squads, but
That was funny.
It was funny and kind of good.
Didn't the stream die during that game?
Maybe.
I think it did.
But it was interesting and kind of good, but it was super boring to play because it was just the same thing all the time.
You did kill a lot of Gene Stealer Cods, though.
A lot. It was cool. Plus, all the bobs were hilarious with the plasma guns.
Yeah. Fucking Bobs.
I know. But and then what's cool about that list is you can add in I added in loads of dragoons from Mechanicum. Cool. Yeah, that was fun. And I used them for combat. Then I added the Bullgrins in, so they kind of did the same job. So I ended up the Helverins in, which I hated.
We know you hate that.
Yeah, but overall, with the Imperial Guard, it feels like you do have to soup because you're always looking for that other thing, which is kind of that ranged threat.
I mean, you do have a good range threat. The problem is that you just don't really
Tom,
know
you've,
which one
by
is
the way,
some.
snuck further and further out of camera.
Oh, have I?
Yeah,
Sorry.
just.
Let me just.
There you go. You're good. You're good.
There we go.
It's been progressive and it's been hilarious. When you watch it back, you'll see. You start there,
Sliding across. Yeah.
What do you think about Astra Militarum overall?
Sorry. Delayed by the camera now. That's perfectly fine. I think they're fine. They don't kick out as much firepower as the Tau do, which is they're more of kind of a utility shooting army, if that makes sense, because you have lots of ways to reduce movement. So Wyverns are a good example. And then Basilisks are a good example as well if you're using the Vigilus Defiant.
And you can backline them a lot, so they've got good range.
Yes, yes. And they can ignore a lot of line of sight. The problem is that you don't really have much to stop people from getting on top of you, apart from the reduced movement. That's all. But if you can mix in something like Bullgryns, and then you can try and screen off, but then it works quite well. I don't know. I haven't really seen much pure guard around, apart from Lehman Russes, where people just compromise actual useful things in favor of getting as many tanks on the board as they physically can.
So like in
like
the chat,
bolt action
in
players.
the chat, 3 tank commanders, 3 of them, and Pask. I've seen that more than once.
Oh yeah. So that'd be a super army though. That's not a full guard army.
Yeah, no, but I also don't think that's again I get it. What you're
I'm
doing.
not saying it's a bad thing.
No, but I'm saying I get the list. Like people are like, right, there's this thing. It's quite cheap. I take it a lot. Its output is pretty consistent, especially for Imperial Guard, right? Yeah. But then you come up against something else. Is like I'm a better shooter than you, and then they go, fuck, I don't have an invulnerable save,
Or
and they
you
die.
can't dig me out here.
Yeah, like, and I think that's problematic. I think that's why
It's not interesting in those games.
no, because
You don't have a plan B.
you don't have a reactive plan. Yeah, and that's the other issue with Imperial Guard. Their range is always in shooting.
Is this an issue with 40k though? So what you end up doing with a lot of there's this concept called extreme builds, and the idea is that you take one strength that your army does really really well and you double down on it. So let's say, okay, my job is to
Town shooting.
Town shooting is a good example. Plague Bearers, another good example. Your job is to stand in the middle of a board and not die. So rather than showing up your weaknesses, which is potentially not killing enough stuff, which one could argue if that's a weakness if your strength is strong enough.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So you end up with, okay, rather than just building in a plan B, I'm just going to double down on plan A, right? And my plan A is going to be super good, but I've got no plan B in case if I run into a bad matchup. So what you end up doing is if you take an army that isn't extreme, you're going to lose on the grounds of plan A, and then your plan B isn't going to be strong enough to beat whatever army you anyway, right?
Yeah, and ultimately, anyone who's listening, like that, those lists work quite well at team events because what you're trying to do is organize matchups. However, like especially in a single person's event and the parameters of my list, usually the doubling down tends to be a fairly like new player centric tactic. What they tend to do is they go, I'm new, I'm going to double down on my one thing. Lists that you see do quite well. And players who you see play a lot usually have reactive builds. It's why people run towards Eldar, because they're mobile, they're fast, they're safe. They've got lots of really solid options. Yeah, like they move towards them because they can be reactive.
Well, even then, my Eldar build was one plan, and it was just doubling down on that plan.
Okay.
So let's say I took an army, and I'm going to convert points not only into units, but points of efficiency. So let's say I've got 2,000 points. And 1,200 of those points are going into making my plan A as efficient as possible, right?
Yeah.
I'm up against a 2,000-point army with one sole purpose. And if my one purpose of 1,200 points of this is going up against 2,000 points of this person's sole purpose of inefficiency, the 2,000 points are probably going to win on that front, right? So I can employ the plan B instead. Well, now my plan B is even less successful than my plan A because I'm just not built for it as much.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's difficult to explain, but...
No, well, that's our job. That's what we're trying to do,
It's
right?
just the weakness of all comers lists, whereby. So let's say I have one unit.
Yeah,
one unit that
but
kills,
I'm not. that's why my parameter wasn't. I want an all-comers list.
I'm not saying it is, but the thing with all comers lists is what they're aiming to do. Is they're trying to be versatile because you have one unit for doing this, one unit for doing this, one unit for doing this. So I've got one tank killing unit, and here's an army full of tanks. You kill a couple of tanks, remaining tanks kill your tank killing unit, and then they can't do anything.
Agreed.
And this is the issue with efficiencies.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hi, Ian Plimmer, by the way, and not who's there says Rob just wants to bring a knife to a gunfight. Isn't the case?
He's
But
crossed off all.
I understand. Yeah, no, I do agree with you. I think all comers list, like the concept is almost a myth.
It's weird.
It's
the only thing. Ironically, all comers lists are just extreme builds that happen to not have a counter currently.
Yes, that's fair. That's really fair. Yeah, exactly. Like the horde list that like you put on the board.
Yeah,
like
just
if
can't
it's
deal with
if it's
it,
so extreme that it's undealable.
No one
with,
can deal with it. Yeah.
like which is a really good point. That's where the double down works.
So a good example is North America right now, the Plague Bearers list.
Yeah.
They've got one purpose of standing in the middle of the board, scoring all the points and not dying.
Yes.
And no one's got an answer for it. But they're an extreme build.
Yeah.
And that's why. But they beat everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They don't. But they are beating everything.
Yeah, it's a solid argument. So, where were we?
We're talking
we're talking about guard.
Yeah.
So yeah, with guard, I think what you're always doing is you're always adding in like what their weakness for, or you're adding in reactivity, because I don't think they have any reactiveness with guard. You would add that in. And it's interesting. I like the Death Watch add-in. That's cool. Yeah, I especially like that.
Why don't you do the Death Watch with the add-in of guard?
Yeah,
I mean, it's tempting to do the Death Watch with add-in of assassins, actually, because one of the things that really gets through Death Watch quite well is psychic powers.
so
because-
it's kind of like the Custodes list, but like different.
Yes, so what you are doing with Death Watch is you're investing quite heavily into things like Storm Shields. So now if you're getting hit by things like multiple smites, you're going to be taking a lot of damage and losing quite a lot of efficiency that you've poured into those Storm Shields. So you can take potentially a couple of Collectus Assassins and then maybe one Mendicare.
So yeah, but what you're effectively doing is doing a better Custodes version of the list, really. Like you know, like
But it's similar again,
you're
yeah.
doing power armor with clever shit behind it, as opposed to what's it called? Custodes armor.
Allurus?
No, that's the actual Terminators. What's
okay.
the flat Custodes armor called? It's not called power armor, is it?
No, it's not. No, but someone in the chat will find out. It's fine.
Okay.
But in the same way, we're talking about this builds like Tau, and this builds like Custodes. It's weird how we're kind of nailing down these list types throughout codices.
Yes, absolutely. Not who says, I feel like Rob is that guy from Indiana Jones, swinging his sword around doing cool shit, and some tower player Indiana Jones shoots him before he's able to finish. No, I want to be the Indiana Jones player, whereas the guy with the towel list is there just like, watch all these guns fire. And I want to find the quick answer. So guard we've done, and then
I think we've done Imperials.
I think we've done all
So
of the
it just needs to be
unless hold
chaos.
on, let's just double check. We've done power armor. We've done all the different types. Okay, auric armor. Thank you.
There we go. Okay.
That makes sense.
There we go. So we've done Imperial, so we just need to do Chaos now, and then we can pick a faction, and then we can work on how we're going to build the list.
Yes, to a degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is good. I think we could next week move into like some more that. Just so we've got the resources available.
Oh no, that's fine.
codexes.
Yeah.
So chaos.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about demons, but then the stream broke. So start with demons.
Okay.
What do you think?
Are they reactive enough? I mean, they are quite reactive. You can build a demon list. But one of these ones that's quite up in the air. I don't think you really like get on with the plague bearer builds. What do you think? Do you think you like plague bearer builds?
No, because that's what, just sit there and don't die.
So do you go for something like Nikos has with the bloodletters for deep striking?
So
I've seen a lot of these plague bearer builds, specifically Scott and Alex Petford as well. They've been running this list, which has been plague bearers and then a bunch of bloodletters to respond when things kill the plague bearers. So, but again, it's a list archetype with a little bit of reactive component inserted in.
yeah, I don't mind coming to the table with a pre-prepared plan, because realistically, your reactiveness is like, oh, I can't do my plan. How do I reposition? I think, which is really interesting. The demons interest me as well, but I tend to think that you're going to see almost, I don't know if you do, you'll see none of the big boys. So you sometimes see Great Unclean Ones, and sometimes see Rotigus, but I don't necessarily see a lot of Lords of
Bloodthirsters.
Change. I don't see a lot of Bloodthirsters. And I'm not saying that has to be an element of the army, but again, what I'm not doing is having a variety of things. Like Nikos' list as an example, 30, 20, 10 of Bloodletters. It's got a Demon Prince in there and a Herald.
Corn Berserkers.
Yeah, and that's all really cool. But it's like 30 of this unit, 20, and that's okay. I'm not against it. Not against it. Don't get me wrong. I just think some of the cooler models and some are maybe that they just aren't there. And like especially the Lord of Change, especially Bloodthirst. So I'm just like, so I'd be really interested in the new Slanesh stuff because I think Shalaxi is Shalexi.
Sawi made.
She is though. Come on,
What the
like
fuck?
that looks really cool. So I'd be well up for that. But
There's two. You know, Silaski is like two different individuals. There's the male one, and then there's a female herald on the top.
Shalaxi.
Yeah.
No, no, not Shalaxi. That is Skilessi.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
It's the Demon Prince. It's cool as well. We read the War Scroll data sheet out the other day.
I'm just getting. They all sound the same.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Demon with penis.
Wow. There's no penis. Actually, demons are androgynous.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
They do. They seem to have a lot of breasts or something androgynous.
That's fucking do what you like, man. Like, so does a cow.
I mean, dudes can have
suppose.
breasts, I guess.
Everyone can have breasts.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about 2019. Everyone can have breasts or not. Your choice. So Celeste would be So I think the Slaanesh demons could be very, very interesting.
Do you think we put one on hold for a couple of weeks just so we can digest it properly?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But I also think when we talk about being interesting, there's little to no shooting in a pure demon list.
It doesn't matter if you charge it turn 1.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But then it's
Well, it
very,
does actually because you need to clear screens. But
yeah, it's very You've got to kill screens, right? That's pretty key.
yeah, maybe you can insert some Chaos Space Marines with a bunch of cultists with guns.
Yeah.
And Alpha Legion.
Yeah. But then we're running Nikos's list.
Really? Are we? I mean, it might be a similar archetype, but it's different if you're inserting like 120 cultists with Marcus Slaanesh double firing. Oh, sorry, I thought fist here.
Yeah.
Double firing, and then with Veterans of the Long War, right? And then you just trying to remove a screen, and then you just charge stuff. But at the end of the day, the screen can still fan out wide enough that you still have a long charge because you walk up, you'll stand 1 inch away from the screen, and then you're still far away, right? So
it's a fair point.
unless you have a soul burst to move again when the screen dies, but unfortunately that's not a thing
the
anymore.
other thing is that they have a very, very, very limited set of stratagems.
Yeah, I guess.
And then a lot of the kind of like interactivity tends to be.
Do Slaanesh not get more stratagems?
Yes, they got some more stuff. But they just like look at the book. I'm talking about the whole book. Yeah, there's not a lot in there.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
a very weirdly thin book.
Yeah, I know. It's
For
it's
4
weird
armies.
that Custodes get more stratagems than any of the demon factions.
Yeah. Just reading the chat, KR Quinn says, so we need to go back to Sisters in a minute because we forgot about them. Tolopolis
Well,
says,
we
non-flame-
didn't. We spoke about them a little bit, but we haven't really seen enough of them to make a comment. I'm really in beta. So.
Yes. Tolopolis says non-flying combat monstrous creatures have no place in 40k right now. Viking DK says boobs for everyone, which I agree with. And then Hypnocracken says Oprah is now giving away boobs.
Who is?
Oprah.
Can I have some?
Look, you and me later.
It's
We'll
like
finish
it's like
this.
Blackadder
You
with the comedy
get your
breasts.
Crocs out and we'll go to a club.
Get
and
the
we'll
croc
some-
out.
Yeah. No, Crocs.
Oh,
Crocs.
Multiple. Oh,
No, we need.
that is very
demons-
Slaanesh.
We need demons full of dicks for equality, says Dr. Robotic.
It's like when Game of Thrones had that petition because there weren't enough penises in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not who's there. Most 40k dudes have breasts. Oh, wow. Okay. Should have read that before I read it.
Oops. Too late.
And the scriber says, I have breasts. You're drunk, says 2 Tristan.
He probably is drunk.
Probably.
Yeah.
So demons, interesting potentially. So let's go. So then let's talk about the specific factions in Chaos. So there's the Chaos Space Marine
Book.
Yes. Oh no, let's do Death Guard first.
Okay, we can do Death Guard.
Let's do Death Guard.
Death Guard are cool.
Death Guard are cool. They got a nice variety of options. What I like
got
about
cool
Death
looking
Guard,
models.
they've got cool models. What I like about Death Guard is they've got a variety of those lieutenant-y-esque characters, like the biologist, putrefier, etc.
Yeah.
And what they do is they dramatically, with like a couple of clan packs, I could dramatically change the shape of my army.
Yeah, and that fat fucker that stops you from charging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a quite interesting army. Although I've played with them a little bit, I'd quite like to play Plague Marines. And the issue with Plague Marines,
With the Charybdis.
well, I played a bunch of different ways with Death Guard. I like the Terminator build as well.
Yeah, that
but
could be okay.
you what you're doing is, if I was to play stuff like that, I would want to have a lot of bodies.
Sure.
So that I could kind of like hammer strike with my good unit when I want to.
Could you combo it with demons and then take 1 unit of 30 plague bearers and then just 2 units of terminators?
It could be a thing.
Yeah.
It could be a thing. So that sounds interesting, right? Like you got some ball control to a degree.
That's just stop things from alpha striking, charging your terminators.
Yeah, it look interesting, be cool, be fun, but can you react with it?
Can you use
Can you react?
What's the stratagem that prevents you from shooting units unless they're the closest unit?
Plague of Flies.
Can you use that on terminators?
Yes.
There you go. You can just
It's,
block the
it's
plague
an
bearers.
infantry unit.
There you go. Block with the plague bearers.
Could be cool.
That could be alright.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
All right. But Death
they
Guard,
maybe-
Death Guard got quite a wide book. They've got like a nice set of options. They do, and they've also got like a very cool thing. They have vehicles with invulnerable saves,
Yes.
which is pretty
Do
fucking
they get
badass.
disgustingly resilient as well?
Yes or
I
no?
don't know. Chat, check. Go on, chat. I believe in
They
you.
have the 5-up demon save because they're demon
Yes, they do.
engines.
This is true.
They might also have disgusting resilience.
Yeah. Double check that.
Yeah, we'll double check that. They do.
There you go.
They do. So that's cool. So they're like way more survivable, which is nice. But they normally like, so for instance, the Plague Burst crawlers, they hit 4s.
Plague Burst crawlers are toughness 8 though, so they're unreliable in terms of the amount they kill, but they don't die.
Yeah, they live there for a long time.
Yeah, so you'll get a guaranteed number of turns.
which
of
is kind of
shooting,
cool. But minus 1 to
realistically.
hit's fairly common in 40k.
But you're also
at
quite long range. Yeah, it is. But
Yeah. And then, but I do like the idea of the little Mephitic Black Hole crawlers
Yes.
running around doing their work.
They're like the little Plagueburst crawlers.
They are, but I don't know if the list is overly reactive, but it could be. It's quite slow as well.
I feel like you'd have to path out exactly where you want your models to be at the end of the game and just work your way towards it.
Exactly. So you're going in there with the game.
It's kind of
plan.
like Talos, yeah.
It's kind of like Talos, yeah. Bob Monkey, I hope I didn't miss much. Just left to show the show as my 2-year-old son vomited chips all over me.
Full chips.
Full
How did
chips.
that happen? Yeah.
And then
I hope you're okay,
says-
Rob.
Yeah,
What happened
says, yeah, the Dorado with twin butchers is very nasty.
Dorado is fun.
Yeah, so that's cool. Okay,
Did your chair just fall down?
yeah, I just clipped it, didn't I? So we Chaos
Thousand
Space
Suns.
Marines. What are your thoughts?
We're not doing Thousand Suns.
No, we will do after because I think they are a really solid choice.
Okay, that's fine. As I've actually said about Chaos Space Marines, we've got access to some pretty cool stratagems for new books still out. The Vexator, not Vexator, that's the Drakari thing. Lord Discordance. There you go. They're pretty cool.
Lord of Squad's cool. The Havocs are not cool.
Not a fan.
Just ish. I do like.
I think the Reaper Chain Cannon dudes are overrated.
Okay.
I don't like them as much. I think the range is a bit of an issue. They have the same issues that Necrons do with the Tesla, but except they don't really have the screening because Helldrakes suck ass.
But what Chaos Space Marines have over normal Marines is they can go to a. I think that vanilla Marines can't go to a very interesting place. So like Imperial Marines can go into things like they can have their specialist squads quite good, and then they can go into Knights. But what's really cool with Chaos Marines is if you're looking at what they can mix with, is they can go for their cheap demons or their good demons. Yeah, they can add a monster in here or there. So there's quite a width, and you can go to things like the Primarchs if you want them. There's also a variety of psychic powers which are pretty impactful.
But I think the stratagems are the big thing, personally.
I mean, Warp Time's massive.
Wartime is big too.
Yeah, if you look at that just for all of Chaos,
But you can normally see that comboed with things like the Thousand Suns, because you end up getting the extra range on it as well. Plus, you can add in that new fortification. I forgot what it's called. I think it looks like the Stargate.
Yeah.
Which is quite good for getting.
Oculus Oculum.
There you go. So that's gives you.
No,
a
it's
little-
not that. It's not called that, but it's called a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
So it gives you some more reliability as well. It's quite expensive though, so I'm not entirely sure about it. But I mean, it gives you access to certain things, then it gives you access to make them reliable.
But
So
I
it's another
think
way to build.
a bit like we talked about earlier, where inside the single faction of Deathwatch, adding a couple of characters, a couple of different units in a squad could be that kind of like micromanagement of your army that could be interesting over the course of playing for a year. I think Chaos, it would be all about adding in like, you'd be like, okay, cool, I could add this Demon Prince of this in because I'm playing Chaos Space Marines, and then you've got your kind of like, that's me talking about Chaos faction as a whole. But I think Chaos Marines, because you can just go, I mean, you can paint them all black and just give them gold trim.
I mean, call them Deathwatch.
Yeah, well, they're any, yeah, I mean, they're any fucking faction. They could be Black Legion or they could be any of the others,
Or
right?
Raven Guard, or
Yeah, or
Deathwatch, or-
anyone, right? Or
You're doing an Icos.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so thank you. The Noctilith crown.
There you
Noctilith
go.
crown. That's,
That's
what
what
it's
we're
called.
finding.
So I actually think that they seem like one of the most the widest, and they also seem quite interesting because they've got access to things like terrifyingly big monsters like Mortarion and Magnus.
Well, they also have access to the kind of monsters that you're looking. Well, Chaos Space Marines don't have access to Magnus or Mortarion.
Yeah.
They have access to souping them in because Mortarion is Death Guard and Magnus is Thousand Suns. But you do have access to the big monsters we were talking about with Tyranids with the 2+ armor saves. Which
Yes.
of the Lord Discordants?
Yes, 2+ armor save is on a monster is a thing which Tyranids don't have. So they've got tools, they've got psychic powers, they've got range threat, they've got adaptability, so you can just change like which faction they are, sort of thing.
Yes.
So I actually think Chaos Marines, Space Marines is a
Put that
very.
as a maybe.
I think it's a very interesting choice.
Okay.
But it's whether or not like it ends up being it's just about faction X and faction B together, and you leave Chaos Space Marines out.
Maybe. I mean, I think they're a good bridge.
They are. I think they're a good bridge, and I think they could be the good base of a core. That's two words mean the same thing.
Base of a
Sorry
core.
about that.
No, it's fine. It's definitely a base and a core.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly. Hey, Chucklebuddy TV. Archean says, don't forget Forge World, so helpful to Chaos. That's also true as well.
This is true.
They've got a
Super
variety
Chicken
of things.
OP.
Yeah.
In power levels only.
Yeah, Demon
Only in
Engine,
power
and
levels.
also Demon Engines have that invulnerable save. So all of the things that we talked about as a problem. So multi-win models not having invulnerable saves. Chaos have that. Very limited access to 2-up armor saves, which means you don't need the invulnerable saves. Have access to that.
I mean, you have the invulnerable save as well.
Huh?
You have the invulnerable save as well.
Invulnerable save as well. They have a variety of psychic powers and the ability. I mean, like, can all of Imperium? Can you double the move on anything?
No, I
Don't think you can.
No.
So you have access to that. So basically, I mean, that's
I think it's only Craftworld Eldar. It is Warp Time, and it is Harlequins,
yeah.
I believe.
So, but utility wise,
Oh, and Sister Battle, of course.
yeah. So utility wise, and then like utility wise, and therefore like access to reactive mechanics. Chaos have more, and then as Knock Knock Who's There's put in as well, having access, having Death Hex over Null Zone is a big difference.
So
as
much
well.
better.
It's just so much better. So if you're looking like, because basically what I want is a toolbox of things, and then Chaos Marines and Chaos in general have access to more tools than Imperium centric.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. Cool. 1,000 Suns is the last one.
Thousands. Is it the last one?
It is the last one.
Okay, so the 1,000 Suns. So again, like I think there's loads of tricks there, which is really good. Like semi-elite, which is fine. So I mean, I would want to find the ways to put in, like we talked about, the board control.
I mean, depends how you define semi-elite, because you can build either way, right? You can take things like Zangors and hoard the board with Horrors and Zangors. Or you can take things like the special Swarm Terminator, what's it, Majabi things. Swarm are called Terminators, is that what they're called? And my rubrics are actually okay as well when you don't have, especially when you don't have AP, because you can get the 2+ saves.
So 1,000 Suns, if you look at the stats actually, also for 40k, they generally are very poor. They're not very well represented in how many people play them, but their win percentage is usually quite high.
Yeah.
And they do seem like an army that once you get into them, there's a lot of people who do quite well with
I
them.
think it is one of these that you mix with Demons every time.
Yeah, like again, like we've talked about this all in isolation, but you can't help to run away from the conversation of I can double down by souping it, or which is why I think things like Tau and things like Orcs, even competing generally, is so massive because like both Chaos and Imperium are able to just jump into any of the two other codexes at any point and be like, I want that utility.
I'll have some of that. I'll have some of that. Yeah.
But it's interesting that Chaos haven't done. Also, what's nice about Chaos is it's not Eldar, it's not Imperium. Like, so I think it's not underrepresented, but you don't tend to see it as much.
Well, in America, I think you're seeing it a little bit more now.
But in the UK, do you think you see it much?
No, because we know how to deal with those things.
Yeah, so I think that there's.
We don't run as much ITC.
You're really on the American kicking wagon now. You've decided.
It's 3 months to the ETC, dude.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah, it's
okay,
back.
okay.
Less than 3 months. It's more like 2.5 months.
Yeah, LV says, I think a 40k OS crossover show would be great, actually. Could even look at the demon armies and how you could build complete both. Yes, we could do that at some point. That's very possible.
Yeah.
Mortal Wounds for Days, always handy, says Dr. Ramone. Yeah, coming out of 1,000 Suns.
Which is why I was talking about the assassins being put in with the Death Watch.
Yes, a good counter.
Well, it shows that it's helping you double down on your strength by shoring up your weakness.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. I found 1,000 Suns have quite a low floor. The strength of their psychic and Magnus is hard to counter for new players. It says Knock Knock Who's There.
Okay.
So interesting. Hyrad, I've always been tempted by a rubric army, says Hyrad. So I think 1,000 Suns is very definitely interesting, especially as what's nice about, and going back to Chaos Marines, I think what's interesting about that is I can go into Death Guard if I want to go that way, and then I can go into 1,000 Suns if I want to go that way. And Chaos Marines is I feel like a nice base. Especially as I've got access to the thing that I really want, which is cheap crap, which is which is those cultists, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not against that. My only issue would be is like
you know what I really want on my list?
Go for it.
Cheap crap.
I think it's really
Rob's
important,
2019.
especially in objective-based games, the ability to screen out.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. No. It's just funny. You're saying, you know what I really want?
Shit. I
want lots of shit.
Yeah, and also like I love the 2 CP and 40k, so that you just like immune to like you just pass morale check.
Yes,
I love that. Like, and it's a mechanic that I really like because it's something you know you're going to do ahead of time often, and your opponent doesn't know that's your plan. Like it's because I played a lot of Index Orcs, didn't I?
Yes,
even when codexes were coming out.
Yeah,
and I found it super impactful.
Yeah, I guess.
And I tend to see that a lot of the CPs are used on their tricks in an army.
Yeah.
And that tends to be one that people forget about.
Yeah. All right, Rob. Shall we do a Royal Rumble to see which faction you go for?
Well, yeah, maybe the decision should be join us again next week. But give us the maybes that we've got.
We've got 5 maybes.
Yeah.
Number 1, we've got Space Wolves.
Okay.
Number 2, we've got Death Watch.
Interesting.
Number 3, we've got Death Guard.
Interesting.
Number 4, we've got CSM, as in Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got to say CSM. And then CSM. And then number 5, we've got Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns, yeah. So there's 3 Chaos factions there. I think jumping out the bat from me would be the one I would like to do. I think would be Mechanicum, because I
Can't stop yourself, can you?
But I know, like, a glutton for punishment. But I honestly don't think we'll be able to create something super interactive and reactive there. However, I don't think so, but it'll be interesting.
I agree.
So from this week to next week, we're going to have a big long chat about it and try and work them out. And also, if anyone's interested in getting involved in that chat, I think what I might do is I might set up like a WhatsApp group or something. So if you join the Honest Wargamer Discord.
We could probably set up a channel for it.
Yeah, we can set up a channel for it, and we'll have a long chat about it. Everyone can
What
chip
I've
in.
got here is I've got my 5 stages of list building.
Okay, well,
We can go through it another time.
let's quickly go through it so people can like have some sort of
This is what we're
framework.
going to be doing when we're talking about it. So we're going to be picking the faction. We're going to be picking the framework in terms of which stratagems do you want to use. So therefore, which force organization charts are we going to be using, and then we need to fill them in. So the first thing we're filling them in with is the pivot, which is what we want to build our army around, and our win condition, what we're building towards. Then we've got legality, which is then filling in things like the HQs and the troops and the other unit slots that we need to make it
Boring
legal.
shit.
Boring shit. And then afterwards, you've got the luxury. So you filled in the thing you need to win the game. You filled in the thing you need to make the list legal, and then everything else is luxury points that helps you push towards that win condition.
400 points of spawn.
Yes, I like that plan. We love it. Shall we do League of Knights?
Yeah, hold on. So we will. If you put in excellent, the honest one, interested in the chat, but less so in Discord. WhatsApp, please. Okay. So then, how to do this without making it public? That's what's terrifying. If you join the Discord, that's where we'll get you all into the WhatsApp.
We'll sort it out. Yeah.
For the chat. And I'm sure I'm going to leave John in charge of that, and he will smash it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. So join us again next week. Not only will Nikos be back and we'll be talking about the result of League of Knights, which we're about to talk some more of that later, we'll also start going through some of that process, because I'm sure Nikos will be interested in that, especially as probably a big Chaos Space Marines and he already plays them. So he'll have some
He'll love that, won't he?
He'll love that. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much for that. So now we're going to talk about this weekend. We're at the League of Knights event.
We've got the draw as well, don't we?
Yeah, we got the draw. So Tom has done an award.
Oh.
All right. So that if you guys don't know what that means, we're holding an event in Derby where it's night on night, alternating action. So it's all homebrew and we're smashing it out. It's really fun. We did one last time. We're all going to be there, and it's a really cool way to play. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. So in the WhatsApp chat that we have for the organisation,
Yeah.
Nikos came up with an idea that I do a special award for the most ridiculous / interesting.
Well, because Tom is
Hobby army.
the best hobbyist
am.
here.
So here we have the award. It's called the Most Artistic Army Award. I got this today, so you get it in a nice little box.
So excited.
There you go.
Okay, so Tom, hold it in front of your
I'm
microphone.
going to get it. Hold it in front of a microphone.
Or in this side, between the camera and the
What
microphone.
am I holding? The trophy,
Yeah.
so people can hear the. There we go. I'm just
You can
getting
see
it
the
out.
class of it.
There you go. This is
Wow.
Most
Whoa,
Artistic
back a
Army.
bit, back a bit.
And there.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
Look at that.
That is
If you bring
so
the most
luscious.
ridiculous looking army,
So luscious.
There you
It's
go.
made of 3 different crystals.
yay.
Wow, that is class beyond all class. So that's an award that's going to be given out for the prettiest army.
The most. It's basically based on.
So because you're the painting judge, kind of.
I am a judge for this particular award,
Yeah.
and it's the most ludicrous looking, brilliant army, based on how I'm feeling that day. Entirely subjective award
They're the best awards.
of a big crystal.
So
Look at the size of that bad boy. Look, here's my fist, and my
it's-
fists are quite big.
so it's an award for hobby
Look
crimes.
at that. It's a award for hobby crimes.
Okay, right,
yeah.
fair.
Look at that.
Is that wait? What's in the there's flock on the trophy? There's no flock on the trophy.
There's no flock on the trophy.
There's no flock on. There's no grass on you.
No grass on me. No.
So if you guys are interested, we will be making a video from the weekend, which is going to be really fun. But the draw, we also have the draw to check
Yeah.
out. So not only will we be
draw,
talking
yeah.
on the show next week with videos and photos, there'll also be a draw.
Is this the right way up?
So you got the draw for the first round. I'm correct.
Do you want me to start talking about the
I
rest
would
of the
love you
draws?
to tell me what's.
All right.
Yeah.
So, table 1. So, the highest place these people are getting all weekend.
Yeah.
is we've got Colonel Cabbage, who came 4th at League of Nights 1, so maybe on this table again.
Yes, bro.
And he has 4 Forge World pay-to-win knights.
Wow.
Very cool.
Okay.
And he's playing against the best opponent in the room, who is the Honest Wargamer House Robot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there
All right.
you go.
Nice.
And table 2, we have Full Grima,
Yeah.
who's rocking 3 Gallants because he just loves all that close combat.
Ooh.
Why not? Who's against Datcom, who won up to Colonel Cabbage by coming 3rd at the last event. And apparently he's the master of the League of Knights FAQs.
Nice. He is.
So
That's
he
correct.
can make up rules.
Yeah.
Table 3, we have Adam Lawrence. And he is gunning for knight kills, and that is all.
That's
all
only
he
once.
wants to do is kill knights.
Oh.
And he's up against James of James Workshop. Should be
Perfect.
fun. And then on table 4, we have Robin Lawrence, and he's new to League of Knights and has a Valiant and some Helverin's chaff, and he's the brother of Adam, so he's playing on the table next to him, so it should be fun.
Helverin
So
Chaff.
I'd imagine he's going for.
How many Helverins does he have?
I'm not sure. Didn't mention,
Ooh.
but that could be interesting. I don't want to give away all of his secrets, you know.
I mean, how exciting
So-
is League of Nights going to be when we have
It's
the
gonna be
upgrade pack from Forge World?
I'm interested to see which of the brothers kills more stuff.
All right, nice, yeah. So
Adam
it's a
and Robin.
brother off. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
brother
call.
off.
Yeah.
I think it might be Robin because he's up against the big goldfish in round 1.
Oh, okay. That's rude. Big goldfish, you're going to smash it.
No,
Don't
it
worry,
isn't,
bro.
because apparently the big goldfish says that he doesn't know what he's doing.
That's true, but
It
he
is.
doesn't mean in League of Nights. He just means life.
Ah, I see.
Okay.
Right, fine. Well, he's coming out for a meal of his afterwards, I think, isn't he? So
Yeah, he is.
yeah, but
He's great.
yeah, so he
he's
definitely
great.
doesn't know what he's in for.
He's a treasure.
So table 5, we've got Rick Nightingale,
Nice.
and he has a Castellan with the headsman Mark.
Ooh.
He's going full tryhard. Speaking of going full tryhard, we have Brad Glover, and he's bringing a beautifully painted Chaos Titan.
One Chaos Titan.
So whoever plays him out of the Lawrence brothers is not going to be winning most model skills at the event. That's going to be interesting. Then on table 6, we have Sam Dodds, who was the previous Wooden Spoon winner, against Andrew Jones, who was trained by Nikos himself in the Way of the Night. So that could be the closest game.
Oh, okay. Nikos is playing.
No, Andrew, who was
Oh,
trained
he's
by
been
Nikos.
trained by Nikos. Ah,
Nikos is
protege.
Padawan versus the Wooden Spoon winner. And then on table 7, we have Witch King, who has a Porphyrion, because banter. And they are up against Clem, who is new to the League of Knights as well, has an Atropos and a Valiant, and offered us a venue. So massive shout out to Clem.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much,
yeah.
Clem.
That'd be that's pretty much it for the rundown of round 1, I think.
Okay, exciting. So yeah, we're going to be recording some of it, showing
Yeah.
off some pictures. It's just generally going to be a really fun event. Nick's
Yeah.
worked really hard.
Get an after video done.
We're going to get an after video done. It's going to be a fun. I'm all there all of Saturday. So that's
Hmm.
Saturday. So if you guys international listeners or just people who aren't attending, then check that out. It's going to be just a fun event that we're going to do.
Yeah.
Worth keeping your eyeballs on. Yeah.
100%.
And
fun.
Arkian, thank you very much. Has already set up the Discord channel to talk about the lists for
Fast
next week.
boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is smart as hell. I'm excited for the matchups. Can't wait to see you guys on
Yeah.
the Saturday.
I'm excited to see all the cool looking armies, to see who's going to win.
The best award.
Most artistic army award.
But apart from that, it's been a great chat, Tom. Thanks very much.
Yeah, it's been good fun, mate.
I
Thanks for
have
having
missed
me.
Nick though.
Yes. Yeah.
I have missed Nick.
But he's busy, so we'll
He is
see
busy.
him on Saturday for a great
Well,
event.
he
He's putting a lot
generally
of
just
effort
sits on
into it.
Twitter for 18 hours a day, waiting to make hilarious little jokes at
And
people's
tweet
expenses.
pictures of his own night painting.
Yes, he does.
Mm.
Oh,
Is that
thank
true?
you. Thank you for subscribing for 6 months in a row. That would be cool. And Full Agreement says, surely the best 40k faction to do is Knights, and then you come to League of Knights. That's true. That's
maybe,
true.
yeah.
It's the easiest faction to do, right? Well, blow me. Autistic or artistic?
Artistic. There may have been a typo. Don't know what he's talking about.
Hey, listen, everyone on Twitch, you guys have been amazing. Tom, you've been great.
Thank you very much. You've been good too.
Oh, wow, thanks. I don't normally that normally doesn't get said. Thanks. Compliment. Don't know how to take it.
All the compliments this week.
Yeah. Again, as always, thank you to all you people who've joined us in chat. So Toon King, LV, Arkian, Full Green, Poke John, Nightbot himself,
Thank you, Nightbot.
Nightbot. Thank you to all of you who subscribe and join us for the chat. You guys are just badass. Thank you to everyone on Patreon, obviously, for helping with everything. And now to all all of you absolute lunatics who've helped with the GoFundMe. Thank you so much. We're going to bring you, like, we're doing 40k coverage this year. We do a lot of AOS, but it's because we don't really get asked to do much 40k coverage. But like, I'm sure we are. I think not only will the GoFundMe really help, obviously us do better coverage, but it'll help get our profile out for people to understand that there's us committed to doing this live coverage from events. So what will be really exciting is when we get to go to some of the larger events and bring this kind of world-class gaming coverage. So not only do you guys get to learn more about what it's like to game at that level, also you'll get to see some badass armies now, because it won't just be a top-down, which is cool.
It's gonna be really cool.
It's going to be really cool. So you guys are brilliant. Oh, the Saurus Knight has changed his own name. Oh, that's cool.
What's he changed it to?
Yeah, to the Saurus Knight. He's changed it to the Saurus Knight.
Right.
He's what's the 40k equivalent? It's like he ran.
I've played Total War 2. It's fine.
No.
And I saw that game of the Saurus Knights.
Oh, okay.
On
okay.
Bobo.
So
yeah.
you understand.
Oh, yeah. I
All right. Thank you so much. Tom's always a charm, says LV. Bomb Monkey says
true.
goodbye. Colonel Campbell says goodbye. Well, make it 400. Fuck. We're not making it 4,000. Right.
Might be 5,000 at this rate.
Yeah. So and you guys are brilliant. So we'll see you guys soon. And goodbye.
Bye.